This is Atomic Shinobi and today I am going to narrate what if Naruto was betrayed by Iruka and became demonic. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. No wasting no time, let's start the story.
Naruto questioned the blood. Covered Iruka. Why would you do this, Iruka? In just 30 seconds, Naruto had performed a powerful attack known as Gekido Coffin, which caused his red chakra arms, given by the Kyuubi that resided within him, to grasp Iruka's body and injure him. Naturally, Naruto was unaware of this. After injuring Iruka, he approached him and took off his mask, revealing Iruka. Because you took them from me. I took who from you? My family, you killed them. What? When you were born, the fourth Hokage sealed the Kyuubi into you. It took over your body and is controlling you like a puppet. You are the nine-tailed fox. He took a few steps back and said, "No, this can't be. No, 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 no." He screamed, and red chakra engulfed his body. A huge sphere of red chakra circled his body, and a red chakra that resembled lightning crashed into the ground, destroying trees. The kanji for Oni was engraved on Naruto's forehead, and the red liquid, which resembled chakra, leaked from the sphere in the ground before launching itself into his forehead. The 6-year-old let out a painful "aw" as the demon's chakra filled his body. Iruka was killed by the shockwave from his branding completion, as his body burst into meaty red chunks that were slapped across the grass or in the direction of a bush or tree. As soon as Kakashi and Mizuki arrived, they discovered the young boy and Iruka's corpse. As they got closer to the boy, they could hear him whispering, "Make it stop, the pain, make it stop. I am a demon. No, I am the prison of a demon. No, yes, I am a demon. I am evil. I should die or be crucified. Maybe they will burn me. The stairs will never stop. Mommy and Daddy, save me." They approached the young boy cautiously, and as soon as Kakashi placed his hand on his shoulder, Naruto started to crawl away. "Get back, I'll kill you. Don't get too close to me, it's under my skin, the demon, it's under my skin." Despite Mizuki's belief that he could kill him right then and there, Kakashi and Mizuki exchanged worried glances. He screamed, "Stay away, it's under my skin," and Kakashi and Mizuki's clothing immediately shot out of his way as Naruto got up and fled into the forest. He eventually calmed down after running for a while, but this Naruto was different from the original "I'm going to be Hokage" Naruto. Instead, he was now more of a "I want to kill everyone" Naruto, a demonic Naruto. He proclaimed to himself, ironically on top of the fourth Hokage's stone face, "I am a demon that will crush all who oppose me, that is what I am, a demon forevermore," as he surveyed the village. After 7 years, Naruto awoke in his apartment, lying on the couch and covering his face with a book. "I must have fallen asleep again," he thought. "Anyway, I better put on my performance." Naruto had been acting as though nothing had happened during his 7 years at the academy, and he was still avoided by the kids, with the exception of the Hyuga girl. Shortly after nightfall, Naruto's personality would revert to his original, evil self, and the boy would be drastically different. Following the process of changing into new clothing, the young blonde wore a black shirt, red and black pants with a red line across the right leg, a red open tracksuit with black collar and details, and his new ninja headband. Naruto's clan symbol was displayed on the front of the shirt. Even so, the young boy continued walking to the academy, where he sat in his usual spot until graduating, when he sat down for the final time. He was eagerly awaiting his new sensei so that he could finally show them who he truly was without worrying about what the kids would think. The Kiba entered the classroom. Kiba's excessive showboating and pride annoyed Naruto, and it didn't help that they would fight from time to time. However, they engaged in violent altercations that resembled beatings, and he would constantly flick Naruto's neck while he was walking to his house. After persistently bothering him and occasionally shouting a few insults at him, he finally had enough and was ready to make his boss known. Kiba extended his hand toward Naruto as he ascended the stairs, preparing to flick his neck, but Naruto's hand abruptly grabbed his arm. Everyone turned to look at the two of them as he yelled due to his rapid tightening and movements. It was quite amazing to see that Naruto, the class clown, had sunk his fingers deep into a student's arms, causing him to bleed profusely. When Orochimaru tried to bite Naruto's hand, Naruto simply punched the dog, sending him smashing to the ground. "Orochimaru!" Kiba cried. Naruto's pathetic pup growl startled everyone, including Sasuke. The grunting Kiba responded, "What the hell is up with you?" and instantly froze as he saw the young Uzumaki heir start to laugh eerily, giving everyone the chills, except Hinata, who was only worried. His eyes widened as he asked, "What's up with me?" He went on to laugh. "What's up is that after so many years, you never thought about why I wore that headband all those years." He stopped and started laughing again, saying, "I did it to keep my curse a secret." He took off his headband to reveal his kanji mark, saying, I did it to hide my true identity. I am a demon and you can't understand the pain. I hold within me the feeling of being alone or the suffering I had to go through. You have no idea what it's like to be alone, to be orphaned. He was by himself all this time, Sasuke reflected. Kiba was hurled into the air and smashed into the room's corner after Naruto swiftly punched him in the face. Finally I can put this charade at the end, what, Kiba muttered. The whole time I was pretending to be an idiot, pretending to be a class clown. I made you think I was a loser with genjutsu, so that I didn't have to reveal my secret or be constantly asked about. But seeing as I'll probably won't be seeing most of you until the Chunin exams, I couldn't care less if you knew my little secret. Naruto was about to respond when Sasuke retorted, yeah, like you're really a demon. Everyone stared at Hinata in shock when she yelled, shut up, Sasuke, it's not like Naruto chose to be a demon. Even Naruto was shocked that the quiet, shy little Hyuga girl would yell at someone like Sasuke without hesitation. Naruto asked himself, what's gotten into Hinata? But before he could question the young heiress, Mizuki and Kakashi entered the room and saw the bloodied Kiba. Kakashi sighed, okay, who did it? Naruto, exclaimed the students. Kakashi sarcastically said, oh ha ha, very funny class, now really who did it? Ino exclaimed, no seriously, Naruto did it, and Sakura instantly exchanged death glares. Naruto's dark laughter was soon audible to them. Naruto smiled and said, I always thought you were pathetic, Kakashi-sensei, you couldn't even realize the genjutsu. Kakashi exclaimed, what are you talking about? He put his hands together and said, I guess I better dispel it. Kai, cried Naruto. They looked at the boy and said, well, what do you think, like the new me? His voice had become deeper, grimmer, and more animalistic. His whiskers get thicker and his nails get sharper. What? They exclaimed, but Hinata appeared unaffected by his voice alteration. Only the image. It was always that husky to her, and she was unable to hear anything else. He sat in his chair with his feet up on the table and said, please tell us who am I going to work with / humiliating for the next 2-3 years. Secrets. Secrets. Secrets, this is my true self. I had the high-pitched voice because of the genjutsu, oh well. Mizuki remarked, I suppose we better get started. As Shikamaru and Ino yell for Sasuke, Team 6. Choji, Shikamaru, Ino. Makes Shikamaru and Choji smile. The cream bitch Sakura said, ha Ino loser, I'm going to be Sasuke's group, I'm sure of it, PS. There's Sakura bashing. Team 7. Sakura thought, please, Naruto Uzumaki. Please, once more. Sasuke Uchiha. Please, for the love of Kami. Hinata Hyuga. She bitched to herself, no, why did that girl get put in that squad? I want to be with Sasuke, blah blah blah. Yes, I agree with Naruto-kun, Hinata said, utterly unaware of his recent transformation. The Uchiha thought, really, the split so in the Hyuga, wow, that's going to suck. Sakura was assigned to a team with Shino and Kiba after everyone had left with their senseis. After he stated that he needed to use the restroom, they waited for Kakashi despite the fact that he was present and designated as their sensei. How long is it going to take him to get here? Replied Sasuke. He's either taking the longest pile of shit ever or he's gone and fucked off to a different village, said Naruto. Sasuke asked Naruto, so what's happened to you? Naruto grunted, HMPH. I don't know what you're talking about, Sasuke. Naruto is the same as ever, his voice is the same and his soul is the same. What do you mean his voice hasn't changed? It's always sounded like that since it broke. Sasuke was punched across the wall in an instant after saying, Naruto voice broke? Oh no, my fingers slipped, Naruto remarked mockingly. Kakashi yelled, okay, both of you calm down. Naruto smirked and said, HMPH, so finally here. Kakashi thought, what's gotten into him? At the training ground, Kakashi stood in front of the 3 genin, held up bells, explained the rules, and then vanished right away. Sasuke quickly disappeared. Hinata? Naruto asked, causing the young Hyuga girl to smile while simultaneously feeling anxious. Yes-en. Naruto-kun, have you figured it out yet? She blushed when he smiled at her, yes, response. Then let's go implement it, Naruto said, somewhat demonic. Oh okay. She stammered. They eventually discovered him by a big tree, reading a book. Naruto thought critically, make out tactics? Guess he needs to get laid or something? Initially shocked, he turned to face Hinata, smiled, and nodded, flashing his big canines. 1, 2, 3. The two of them exclaimed as they leapt from the trees. Byakugan. Shadow Clone Jutsu. When the Naruto clones attacked the young Hyuga, who was busy battling Kakashi, He leapt on Kakashi. In the meantime, he produced more that swiftly landed on top of Kakashi. Kakashi was slammed into the ground when the real Naruto grabbed their feet and started to pull, forming a lasso of clones. Ow! Well, I guess you pass, but what about the Uchiha? Replied Kakashi. Damn it, my cover's been blown. He hurled 2 kunai in a panic, but Kakashi quickly punched him out of the tree. Well then, I guess that's lunch. I will give you a second chance, but if you fail you will be sent back to the academy. Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi growled. After a fierce battle, Sasuke finally understood his mistake and started helping Naruto get past it. Afterward, they are dismissed. Kakashi and the Uchiha disappeared, but Naruto remained to speak with the young Hyuga. He stated that he would not be interested in the young Hyuga girl, but she seemed unfazed by genjutsu and unfrightened by his entire Oni speech. Tell me about yourself, Hinata. She said anxiously. Well, where do I start, Naruto-kun? She looked to the ground as soon as she said, why don't you start with your clan? Naruto could see that she was a little sad. I wonder those eyes, they're filled with loneliness, the young boy thought. It's okay Hinata, if you don't want to talk about it that's fine, replied Naruto. Really? Hinata stammered. Yes. After an hour, Naruto left and politely informed Hinata that he had to go do something. During their conversation, Naruto observed that she was blushing and stammering a lot around him. Naruto received the typical looks as he started to walk home, but instead of ignoring them, he snorted back at them. Upon arriving home, he turned on his television and settled down on his couch. When his head began to ache, he stood up in an attempt to reach the restroom before his kanji turned a deep shade of red. He fell to his knees, curled up, in a moment due to the thumping pound of throbbing. Naruto screamed, no father, I don't want to. I don't want any more AAAH. As the sun set, the kanji intensified. No. He cried, before his blue eyes turned red, his hair turned orange, and his teeth sharpened and pointed. The kanji on his head changed from black to red to orange, and his nails turned pointed. His words, hello there father, were directed at the big nine-tailed fox that was imprisoned in the shadowy abyss of despair. Hello there son, was his reply, 7 years prior. One day after learning the truth about the reasons the villagers despised him, Naruto was sitting in his bedroom watching the sunset for the first time. Naruto's head throbbed as the darkness engulfed the village, causing him to topple over. Upon ascending the room, he noticed that it was composed of stone and that a sizable cage stood in front of him. The demon started to laugh inside a huge mass of red chakra that had taken the shape of an orange-furred, 9-tailed demon fox. So then Kit, you have arrived in my tomb. Has hatred encased your soul? He asked. He smiled darkly and said, yes, it has my guardian demon. He answered, what do you mean by Gaurdian demon? Kyuubi, you've always looked after me, even if it was for your own interest. I can't stand to hear and curse at you and not thank you for the many times you've saved my life. You may not want to admit it, but you're my guardian. You protect me and I protect you from those who wish to use you, said Naruto. But I killed your parents, don't you feel sad? Not really. You want to know why? Why? He paused before continuing, because I still have a parent. You. What? He shouted, feeling a mixture of honor, shock, insult, anger, and joy. A parent shows what is right and wrong in the world as well as defend them. That's what you've done. You showed me what good is. He stopped. Non-existent. You showed me what evil is. Once more he stopped. You and me. And while you made me lonely, I know that now you my second father. You've gifted me with amazing power and I can't help but admire your inhuman power. Please, I don't want to be alone anymore. Accept me as your adopted son. Without a doubt, the Kyuubi was unable to speak, but his stunned expression soon turned into a sinister smile. A red orb of the Kyuubi's chakra leaked out of the cage doors and floated to the young boy. HMPH, I can tell you're good kid. Well done, you have gained my trust. Now then take your reward. This orb of my chakra will manifest into your scar at nightfall. Your true self will awaken and your hatred will blossom in a dark and powerful uprising of strength, the Kyuubi declared. The young boy extended his hand to touch it as it drew nearer, and the orb burst into a red liquid that covered the boy's body and turned into a burning sensation. The kanji on his head glowed red before turning black as it vanished, turning the young boy's blonde hair orange like the fur of his adoptive father. The young boy's nails became sharp, his eyes turned red, and the whisker lines deepened. The new child was wearing a red robe with the black kanji for Oni and the Uzumaki clan symbol on the back. Red bandages covered the boy from the ground, resembling a freshly deceitful Egyptian pharaoh, which turned black before tearing it away. There you go, my child, take your newfound strength, And go, however, there will be concurrences from giving you my power. You may use this at will, but the more you use it, the less of my chakra you have access to the next day. The other is that during nightfall, you may activate this mode UNWILLFULLY and be forced to kill any you meet. However, this will only happen at night time during a full moon or a random spasm. He stated that he disappeared. When Naruto returned to the room, he went up to the mirror and saw his new self, which made him smile nefariously. As soon as he felt the red chakra creep around his body, he became more determined to kill. He saw his new outfit and his new weapon, a katana with a black blade and a red guard on the back handle. When the young, now orange-haired child saw a group of people, he pulled out the sword and opened the door, killing them carelessly. The crimson elixir splashed onto his clothing, and the blood spattered the floor. When he felt the other thug try to punch him, Naruto sliced across his face, causing the flesh that connected his upper face to his lower jaw to fall open and the flesh to flip out, revealing his uncontrollably flapping tongues. Immediately, two thugs and a ninja attacked him, swinging their swords. The evil Naruto entered his apartment before passing out after the ninja threw a kunai at him, but Naruto ducked it and used the Kyuubi's chakra to make two tentacles with his face on them. He grabbed the ninja's legs, hanging him upside down and tearing him in half. Let's fast forward to the present. Hello there, son. What do you want from me tonight? Father, you have just become a genin and I am proud of you, Naruto. So now I shall give you a gift, my tailed beast seal. Naruto asked, tailed beast seal? It's a powerful gift I give. It allows you to have access to large amount of your and my chakra. Increase the seal works similar to Orochimaru's cursed seal of Heaven. When activated, your body will be turned into a more powerful state. This power won't be available once I give it to you. It will take several mounts for the power to be absorbed into your being, my child, said the Nine Tails. Behind Naruto, a huge orb of red chakra materialized as a tall, male man with long hair. Since the chakra was still liquid, details such as skin color could be seen. The kanji for Oni Shinzoku appeared on his back, and Tutamoi appeared beneath and above it. A circle encircled the kanji, which was written with the following 6 kanji: Kikido, wrath; Yugo, fusing; Hakai, destruction; Cage, shadow; and Asura, mighty. My son, when I adopted you, I was making a mistake. When I saw your loneliness, I hated seeing that because of what I forced to do caused the death of your parents. Now, my son, I will show what really happened on that night, the night you were born. When he raised his hand, a bright flash occurred then. 13 years prior, Kushina exclaimed, YH, as she gave birth to a blonde child. One of the two sealers screamed, be careful, do you want to release the Kyuubi? To which Jiraiya replied, yes, we do. She gasped as the Sannin stabbed her, asking, what? The other sealer cried out, Ferris, before the 4th Hokage killed her as well. Kushina yelled, Minato, what are you doing? What I am doing is taking the Kyuubi's power for my own. When her baby was born, she screamed, what you can't do, THAAT, and threatened to kill me. Hopefully, he said, startling her. What? She grunted as the Nine Tails chakra started to grow out of her stomach. At first, it looked like a big blob of chakra rising into the air like a lava lamp. Then, its head, feet, and arms appeared, and then it roared as it smashed the 4th Hokage out of a nearby window. Jiraiya attempted to attack the creature, but it just slammed his arm into him. The demon grew its tails before becoming fully fleshed out in color. The demon was standing on top of her as if he was protecting her. Then, he removed the baby's umbilical cord, put some of his chakra in him to heal him, and passed him to the woman. She held the child to her face and exclaimed, Oh Naruto-kun, you are so cute. However, this moment was brief because more ninjas soon showed up. Kushina, get out of here, he uttered while hurling tiny red chakra orbs at the ninja. Following her, the Kyuubi turned and blasted out a couple of the support beams as they ran into a tunnel inside the forest. The tunnel was collapsing, but the fox picked up the woman and ran incredibly fast, outrunning the tunnel in seconds. Once they were outside, they had to sit down because Kushina needed to heal herself and get her mind back on track, and the Kyuubi helped. Kyuubi? Yes. Why did you help me? Simple, I didn't want to be controlled by some like him. That, and out of the two hosts I've had, yours was the most comfortable, so I couldn't let that slip away. He laughed. Also, I could understand your concern for your child. At one point I had a loved one and we wanted a son, but when we were ready to make a familiar, the Uchiha came along, and after their fight I was imprisoned in Mito. I would love to go back, but she is surely diseased by now, he grumbled. I see. I wish that I will be able to survive this day and raise my child, but I feel that isn't going to happen, she said with rage. Shut up. Don't ever say something like that. Your child needs you. Don't let him down. Make sure you survive. Make sure that you can raise him, and if you can't and I get sealed within him, I swear I will instead," said he. "You know you not what expected. I thought you were going to be all teeth and growling. I am sorry. I didn't think you were sentient. None taken. At least you admitted to it." "Mito never said so, but she did at first, probably because the Uchiha used me like one," said Kyubi. "I don't whether it's good thing or a bad thing that he has his father's hair," she said. "HMPH, I guess you don't care what I just said," he grumbled. "So what are going to call him?" She hesitated for a second. "Kuramaru," startled the Nine Tails right away. "Really, are you really naming him after me?" she replied. "Well, I am honored. Thank you, Kushina, but I ask of you, does this make me his godfather?" she replied. Minato was standing on the head of the Gamabunta when he suddenly materialized in the forest. The Kyubi yelled, "Run, Kushina!" which made her turn around and run as quickly as she could for a wounded ninja while holding Naruto. The Kyubi began to enlarge itself to fight Gamabunta, while Kushina ran for her life but was stopped by two ninjas, Makoto and Kakashi, who grabbed the child and began to beat her, enraging the Nine Tails, making him fire an almost fatal blow to Gamabunta, but Gamabunta preformed water bullet, preventing it from hitting him. As it blew up, the shock of the explosions caused the pair get out of the way while the Nine Tails just stood where he was. Gamabunta fired several more water bullets in succession which hit their target, followed by a water bullet barrage which fired 100 water bullets all at the same time, causing the Kyubi to be thrown into the forest. Minato jumped into the forest, grabbed Kurama and began the sealing process. He split the two chakras into yin and yang and began to flow the first one into Kurama and was about to absorb the other chain when Kushina grabbed the chakra chain and floated into her. Seeing this, the Kyubi let go of his withdrawal and he let her absorb the chakra in a flash. "Is that it, father?" "Yes, the next thing I remember was being awoken when we first meet. So then are you angry?" "No, because that man wasn't my father. You were, and I want to find my mother." "Are still going to work for Konoha?" He replied malevolently. "Yes, because as long as I am here they will have to suffer for their mistakes," which caused the Kyubi to smile. "So then what do you wish to be called?" "Well, thought you were called Naruto. My memories were blurred. Even now I am still finding new memories." "Or Kuramaru?" "Kuramaru," he replied, grinning for one of the few times he actually did, "because that is what my mother named me after, a tribute to my adoptive father. I guess I better shorten it to Kurama," which caused Kurama to smile. "Anyway, I've noticed a thing, your conversation with the Hyuga named Hinata." "Yes, what is it?" "Well, I can see people's souls." "Wait, what? Can you do that?" "Yes, cool. Anyway, the way I describe souls are round blue sphere, usually with white core. However, you have a red soul with a white core progressively being encased in a black ink-like substance as my evil takes effect in your body. However, the Hyuga girl has a white core and a small spot of black ink, showing that there is hatred in her heart." "Yeah, so? Take advantage of it. The girl obviously has a crush on you, not to mention she has hatred in her heart and the fact that there is almost no one in Konoha you can trust. She will become a great ally," said the demon while making Kurama smile. The sun was shining on a beautiful day in Konoha, and Kuramaru Uzumaki, also known as Naruto Uzumaki, was making his way to the bridge where he and his teammates, Sasuke and Hinata, would meet up to carry out missions with Kakashi. "Poof! Hey there!" exclaimed Kakashi, and Kurama's skin crawled as he stared at the white-haired kidnapper with murderous intent. Ever since learning that Kakashi was the reason behind his mother's death, he had been furious at the sight of him and had done his best to remain composed, but I couldn't help but get angry when he tried to act like he understood him by being causal with them. Kurama growled, startling Sasuke and Hinata. "What do you want, Baka?" "Naruto, there's no reason for language like that. Fuck off," was Kurama's careless statement. He proceeded to make Sasuke and Naruto grow by saying, "Well, I doubt I'm going to do that as I've got a new mission for you." This caused Naruto to raise an eyebrow, saying, "We need to locate a cat for a woman. Obviously this is a D rank." After Sasuke and Kakashi vanished in a cloud of smoke, Kurama and Hinata were left together, and after recalling what Kyubi had told him the night before, he made the decision to speak with the young Hyuga. "So Hinata-chan, are you getting sick of these D ranks?" stated Kurama. "Just a bit," she stammered out. "I think they're below my skill. I wish we could at least have a C rank. Don't you think? I mean, it's an insult that a team consisting of 3 of the most powerful genin from the rookies are just given D ranks." "Yeah, I guess so. So tell me, what is your clan like?" "Oh well, the thing is," Kurama saw her grief and hatred at her clan's name right away. "What's the matter?" "Oh, nothing, Naruto-kun. Kuramaru, please." "Why?" is making Kurama anxious. Tell her that the Hokage found some old documents about his real name because they didn't know your real name and they only knew you were an Uzumaki because they found the corpse of your mother with you that or you could come clean. According to the Kyuubi, Kurama chose not to take them in. Just because I found out something important, I just feel more comfortable when people use that name instead of Naruto. Her laugh at, "Oh okay Kuramamaru-kun," made Kurama turn to face her in surprise and ask, "What's the matter, na-o Kuramamaru-kun?" Hinata turned red and passed out when she heard the words, "I've just never heard you laugh before, it's beautiful." She mumbled, "Naruto a Kuramamaru-kun," as she passed out. As Kurama cashed her, he exclaimed, "Hinata. Boy, father was right, she does have a crush," he imagined. 2 minutes later, she started to awaken. "Naruto-kun," she whispered. "Kurama," he clarified. She said, "Sorry, Kurama-kun," gradually waking up more and more. He placed her on the tea and sat down on the grass beside her. "So where were we?" he said, pausing. "Oh yes, we are talking about your clan." Her head shot down once more, and he asked, somewhat worried, "Hinata, is there anything about your clan that upsets you?" "It's just that, it's just what? The clan hates me. I can't stand it, they give me cold stares and I just hate it. Everyone is supposed to look at me and say stuff like she's like her father or mother but they don't. It hurts Kurama, it hurts deep. When your little sister is able to beat you when you spar, when your cousin hates your guts and when your father looks at like he made mistake, I can't help but get more and more upset, and then I see you." She stopped. "And then I see you with the same stares pointed at you, and you just look back and stick your tongue out or play a prank, while I just look at the floor." She stopped and realized what she had said. She turned to Kurama who was bright red with his open mouth. He said, Kuramamaru-kun," before passing out. The role reversal made her giggle a little. He awoke 15 minutes later. The words, "Kit, you've done well. Her soul is breaking down" during her conversation, made him smile. He abruptly asked Hinata, who was still asleep, So why are you frowned upon by your own clan?" which made her jump. "Woo!" She gasped, It's because I wish I didn't have to say this but," she stopped. "It's because I am weak. I want to be strong like my father and kind like my mother but I can't be strong. Everybody in my clan knows it. My sister can spar better than me and Neji always tells me how I am weak and pathetic. I hate it. I don't know why I don't just yell at them. I am always too timid to stand up myself. I am weak. I am just weak." She began crying. Surprised, Kuramamaru pinched himself twice before sitting slightly closer to Hinata. The Kyuubi smiled as more and more evil started to grip her soul. "You're not weak, Hinata. Chan, trust me. You have a gentle fist, Byakugan, and you're training with your father. You just can't take that many hits. You're not like me. I can take tons of hits but it's not because I'm strong, it's genetic from my clan," he said, grinning at her. "Like your Byakugan, if you work on taking more hits then I think you will be unstoppable," he said. "Good work, Kit. You've established her hatred. Let it grow on its own. It poke at it every once in a while, to nudge closer to the dark," said Kyuubi with a grin. Kurama remarked, "Oh well, I better be leaving." Hinata practically yelled, "No," as she drew herself to the blonde's arm. "What's wrong, Hinata?" Kurama asked with a smile. "I just don't want you to go, that's all," Hinata said, her face flushed. The young Hyuga blushed when he said, "Well, I guess you could come to the ramen shop with me." She blushed and said, "Oh really?" as Kurama put it, "Sure, I guess." "In the ramen shop, Kurama?" Hinata inquired. He asked, his mouth full of noodles. "You. What I said about me clan. I know this I a bit weird but do you think it's the same as being alone? With nobody believing in you or trusting you, it almost like nobody's there at all," she responded, nearly weeping. "You're not all alone, you have somebody that cares for very much." He placed his hand on her shoulder and asked, "What's his or her name?" which caused her to turn to face him with a broad smile. His declaration of Kurama Uzumaki caused her to turn a bright red. "It's expanding," the Kyuubi declared. "Hinata, I have to explain something to you in private please," stated Kurama. Kurama grinned as he glanced at the empty bowl and said, "Oh sure, I'm finished anyway." "Come on then," he said with a smile as they walked away, but it was sly. Kurama's residence. When Hinata entered the apartment, the young blonde opened the door for him and shut it. Hinata turned to face Naruto, worried about what he would do to her, but he just stood there, closing his eyes, and his skin turned slightly darker, his hair turned orange and longer, his teeth and nails became sharp, and his eyes turned red, turning the white portion black. He gave her a slightly menacing smile. "What's happened to you, Naruto?" she exclaimed as she fell. "I thought I should show you instead of explaining. See, I have to tell you something. You know how I am an orphan," which caused her to sigh. Well, it turns out my real father is the Yoden and was responsible for the attack on Konoha 13 years ago. When I born the 4th Hokage used it to his advantage and released the 9 tails that was sealed in my mother, endangering her life and supposedly killing her, causing Hinata to look perplexed. Yeah, I'll get to that. Anyway, he wanted the Kyuubi's chakra and separated one half of it into yin and the other to yang. However, he was unable to absorb the other chakra and had already sealed the other inside me. After 6 years of being hated, I communicated with the Kyuubi, who adopted and protected me. He gave me a seal which he named the Oni seal, which granted me this power. Alright, so what about your mother? She asked, a little shaken but surprisingly calm. That's the thing, me or the Kyuubi have no idea what happened after I absorbed his chakra, but she probably died from absorbing it. So what's this about the Kyuubi being your adoptive father? Well, he had protected me previously, and I admired that after that he gave me my Oni seal. Oni seal? The woman asked. It's a seal I placed on Kurama when I adopted him. It was made out of my demonic DNA and that of some of my trusted friends. It is separated into 9 paths. Each had an affinity they were assigned. Gakido, which gave him a set of exclusive black fire jutsu. Yugo, which allowed him to fuse with me. Hakai, that allowed him to gain access to several destructive taijutsu and ninjutsu. Kage, allowing him to create special shadow clones with elemental attributes and other shadow-based attacks, and Asura, which enabled him to create mechanical arms. Boomed a segmented voice from nowhere. Who was that? A terrified Hinata asked. No need to worry, that was my dad. I put some of the chakra into the walls so that he could talk to me outside of my head, cause it would hurt if we tried to have a conversation, responded Kurama. However, my seal has 2 drawbacks. Sometimes my father's demonic chakra would overpower my better judgment and make me a psychopath. The other drawback is that while in my demon form, the form I am in right now, he moved his hands across his body to show the change. My state would cause my personality to transform. I don't use this form often, but it doesn't matter because I am, well, a demon. You're a what? She cried out. A demon, he grimly replied. Let me guess, now you're gonna be like, holy shit, kill him now. She cried out. No, if anything, his head hit the floor. What is it? The statement, it kinda turns me on, made Kurama blush, despite the fact that you couldn't do that well in his Oni form. The Uzumaki heir exclaimed. Abba waha, she laughed and said, you look so cute when you're confused. Hinata, are you feeling okay? Yeah, why? I've just never seen you laugh so much. I am a bit worried too. I haven't either. Don't get me wrong, your laugh is beautiful. As she passed out, she muttered, Beaut, full. A few seconds later, the only sound she could hear was, Hinata. Hinata, Kurama exclaimed suddenly. Was her moan upon awakening. Hey there, Hinata, what happened? You fainted again. Did I am sorry, Kuramamaru-kun. It's okay, you fainted, that not your fault. Really, was his response, and he nodded. Hey, I want to show you something, come with me. Okay, was what Hinata said after Kurama. He told the Hyuga, here we are, as they made their way to the 3 kunai target poles. This is my favorite spot in the whole village. I thought it was on top of the Hokage monument. He turned to Hinata, who was perplexed because she had never heard of such jutsu, and said, that's second place. This is where I train with my abilities such as by Hiro Tama, Kage Tama, Oni Tama, and Smoke Kunai. What kind of jutsus are they? I've never heard of them. I'm not surprised because I made them, he said with a little laugh. Here, I'll show you one of my favorites, the Hiro Tama. He moved to the center of the training area, put his right arm out in front of him, closed his eyes, and activated his Oni cursed mark, which transformed him into his demon form. He then hovered his left hand in front of him and began spinning it clockwise, summoning red chakra into his palm into the size of a red sphere of chakra that spread quickly. Kurama exclaimed, Oni, as a massive blast erupted from his hand, transforming the red orb into a blast of electrical energy with a black base and red emanating from it. The blast destroyed 78 trees in total before it stopped and formed a mushroom cloud, which destroyed 16 more trees, and tiny bursts of energy rained from the cloud. It goes without saying that Hinata was terrified. Naruto-kun, how did you learn that? Hinata gasped and grinned as he said, I made it, adding, and I might just teach you that someday so you can take down Neji. Really, Naruto-kun? Yes. Her somewhat seductive, pinky promise, was out of character for her. He grinned wickedly and said, Oh Hina-chan, was that a little sarcasm I hear? Well then, are you going to pinky promise or not? I pinky promise, Kurama chuckled. They both laughed, stopped staring at one another, and gradually drew closer until their lips finally touched. After they broke their lips, Kuramamaru said, Wow, that was unsure of what to say. Don't worry Kuramaru-kun. Everything will be alright, Hinata said while hugging Kurama. I won't let anyone hurt you please. Kuramaru, give the strength to protect the ones I love and the ones I hate. Who are the ones you hate? She mumbled, Nek NVNHYUKNCDC and Farthkodijh. Pardon? She shouted, Neji Hyuga and farther. He embraced her and said, I won't let anyone hurt my Hina. Chan. She smiled but continued to sob into his shoulder as he nuzzled her neck. Kurama, it hurts and I won't stop bleeding. The wound in my heart won't stop bleeding please Kuramaru. It hurts, it won't stop bleeding, can you heal it? She kept saying, I hate this village, everyone in my clan thinks I am weak, like my little sister's better than me and my cousin, who am I kidding, I am weak, they're better than me, kept crying into his shoulder. Well done, Kit, you've got her hooked, line and sinker, it's completely black, laughed the Kyuubi. Sasuke suddenly materializes in a puff of smoke, giving them a startled look when he realizes she is crying, but he soon reverts to his cool dude, emo, persona, and they both give him a chilly look that makes him shudder. He vanished after saying, Kakashi wants to meet up at the Hokage's office. I guess we better get going. She wiped away her tears as she said, can we stop by my house? I need some new clothes. She nodded to show that she understood when she said, actually, my clothes need a replacement, so we'll meet up at the gate to the Hokage's office. As he sat down, Sasuke remarked, well, they're getting comfy. Kakashi questioned, what do you mean? Kakashi raised an eyebrow when he said, when I came to talk to them they were hugging. Has that foul demon spawn corrupted her mind? What a foul and evil monster to corrupt her mind and better judgment, he thought. Minato. Sensei. Iruka, I will kill this child. He is the reason you are dead, he kept thinking in his head. Hinata emerged from the distance wearing a lavender hoodie that was open, a mesh vest, and hot pants with a belt and multiple kunai pouches fastened to them. He has corrupted her, the Hinata I knew would never have worn something like that, he believed. She sat on a bench just outside the Hokage's office door on the left after approaching them. Soon after, Kuramaru showed up wearing a black shirt with the kanji for Oni on it, military green pants like his old ones, and an open red and black jacket similar to the orange one. What everyone saw was that his eyes were bright red. Kurama shouted, Hina. Chan, as he hurried to speak with her. Kuramaru. Kun, Hinata uttered as he took a seat beside her. Asking, Kuramaru? Sasuke. I am not going to let this get complicated, so I am just gonna say that's my new name. A Chunin suddenly emerged in a puff of smoke. You can go in now. The old man told them they had a new D rank, which led them into the Hokage's office, but then. Kurama grinned and the Hokage arched an eyebrow when Hinata complained. I don't mean to complain, but my teams have gone through 40 missions so far. I want something challenging or at least something out of the village. Come to think of it, her outfit and Naruto's change of clothes both appeared at the same time, plus she's been spending a lot of time with him, maybe, just maybe. Which made the Hokage laugh. Finally he can be accepted by another person of his age, he believed. Mizuki demanded, will you show the Hokage some respect, Hinata? And immediately stopped talking when Kuramaru gave him a death glare. Well, I do have this C rank, it's a mission out of the village, it's getting a bodyguard mission for a bridge builder who worried about petty criminals and crocs, that's all. Kuramaru said, okay, well, take it. Right, Kakashi, who gave him a vile look. He pondered, little demon brat, okay, but we have one problem. What's that? Well, see, in Team 8 last mission Shino and Kiba got wounded. Of course, usually the other members of the team would have to wait for their teammates, however, seeing as this is C rank and you were doing this earlier than usual, so we are attaching Sakura Haruno temporarily to your team as support. All four of them, including Hinata and Kakashi, thought, great, we have a fangirl with us. The Hokage said, bring her in, which made Sasuke grow. She exclaimed, Sasuke, at once, causing Hinata and Kuramaru to growl and roll their eyes. Even Kakashi became enraged. The statement, which was delivered without hesitation or mercy, caused her to stop in her tracks. She turned to face him with anger and possibly a hint of sadness in her eyes. Shut up, Sakura. It's obvious he doesn't care, so shut up and watch my and my other teammates' backs, because if slip up and concentrate on him more than the bridge builder and he ends up dead, then I'll gut you myself. You take that back, you bastard. Everyone, including Hinata, gasped when he retorted, shut up, you slut. Everyone knew that Kuramaru constantly advances when they dress like children, but now they were all watching the same person call her a slut. According to Kakashi, okay, you two cut it out. We'll meet up tomorrow, by the bridge. I'll arrive with the bridge builder and we'll get going. After meeting up at the bridge the following day, They set out on their journey to the land of waves, traversing numerous roads. Sakura was walking alongside Tazuna. Sasuke and Kakashi remained at the front point, and Kurama and Hinata remained together behind the bridge builder. Kuramaru grinned and said, "Hey Hina-chan, do you see the puddles?" "Yes, I do," she grinned. "Let's go." Kuramaru performed a substation jutsu on a piece of wood in his bag, and Hinata did the same by using a book this time. As they approach the puddles where the demon brothers attack, allegedly killing Kurama and Hinata, the subs keep walking undetected. Sakura shouted, "Naruto!" Kakashi yelled, "Hinata!" Out of nowhere, two kunai entered one of the brothers' eyes. "What?" Kakashi cried. Kurama abruptly materialized in front of the other brother. As Kurama screamed, "Hiro Tama!" and smashed the brother with the two kunai in his eyes, Hinata jumped to the other brother, who was preoccupied with his brother's passing, and saw her attacking him with a kunai that cut open his stomach. His guts slithered out of his body like worms, and blood covered her kunai. As Kurama watched in delight, Hinata licked the blood of the kunai. Sasuke was wide-eyed, Sakura was frightened, Kakashi was furious, and Tazuna was in complete horror as everyone simply stared at them, jaws agape. "That power, what is that power? I must have it if I want to defeat Itachi," Sasuke believed. "Naruto, what's happened to you? You're merciless, and Hinata, you just killed a person, you seem unfazed. What's happening to you too?" said Sakura. "That demon brat, I'll kill him. He's too strong, that power is not in the right hands, I will kill him the next time I get a chance," he believed. Speaking without fear, Tazuna asked, "So is that what being a ninja is like? Just killing without a care and becoming an animal? What kind of sick fucks would do that to children?" Naruto spun a kunai in his right hand with one finger and said, "Well, to be honest, I was killing younger than this on instinct, so you should know it doesn't faze me." "That's nothing to be proud, Naruto. First of all, did I say if I was proud of it? No. Second, am I proud of it? Yes. Third, it's Kuramaru, dipshit," said Kuramaru. Sakura said, "Naruto, what's gotten into you? I'm worried." Naruto gave her a cold look. He said arrogantly, "Why start now?" Sakura turned around and was about to strike him when she became enraged, but Hinata stopped her by placing a kunai around her neck. She activated her Byakugan and said, "Don't you dare lay one finger on him or I'll kill you." "Woo?" she asked. Kakashi gave the order, "You two calm down." "Very well," she said, taking off the kunai and turning off her Byakugan before chasing after Kuramaru and continuing on. She recalled that she had not felt stronger in a year until a few weeks ago, when she defeated her younger sister, Hanabi, in a sparring match after losing to her months prior. She has been talking trash to her older sister since graduating, and the fact that her father allowed her to do so as if he approved only made her angrier. Hanabi would constantly ridicule her limited skills, but on that particular day, Hanabi had boldly gone too far. 4 weeks prior, Hanabi was on the right, and Hinata on the left. Hinata's and Hiyoshi's eyes were drooping. "You know, sis, I'm going to beat you, I always do. You're probably going to cry to your boyfriend, aren't you, afterwards?" "What is she talking about? Hinata doesn't have a boyfriend," said Hiyoshi. "If she doesn't stop disrespecting Kuramaru-kun, I'll do something I'll regret." "Wait, did I just think that?" she believed. Suddenly, Hiyoshi recognized the person she was referring to. "Seriously, Hinata, why do you like him? He's a freak, you know that he's killed tons of people." He thought bitterly, "You can't be serious, my daughter is in love with the Kyuubi brat." "You take that back," shouted Hinata, and when Hiyoshi looked up from the floor, he heard a cry of agony. Hanabi was whimpering in the corner of the dojo, and Hinata was standing over her, grinning malevolently. When Hiyoshi shouted, "Hi," to stop them, they both turned around and said, "Okay, that's enough, you are dismissed." Hinata quickly closed the dojo slide door and left, grinning as she went to meet Kuramaru. "So she's seeing the Uzumaki. I can't tell if it's a bad thing or not. She seems to be progressing with him, still her personality is changing, or is she just showing her true colors?" he believed. "So then, Tazuna, why did they come to attack you?" "Me? Why did you think they attacked me? Because if you think about why would they want to fight 4 genin and a jonin without a motive? If it was 3 and a jonin, they might have got us, still they would have not attacked unless they had motive. We'll this mission is out of our hands now, we must go back. When you applied you said you wanted protection from bandits and criminals, but these were B-rank criminals." As he kicked the dead ninja's head, Kuramaru remarked, "Really? Pretty pathetic if you ask me." He began by saying, "Well, you see, the land of waves is a poor country, a tycoon named Gato." He then went on to explain the poverty, the significance of the bridge, and his daughter and grandson before pleading with them for assistance. Kakashi was uninterested, so Sakura asked for their help. and Sasuke replied that he wanted to gain some experience. Not wanting to disclose anything to his star pupil, he agreed to assist the bridge builder. Haku, I think you'll wear next, a man with a big sword and a blocked face said. A young apprentice wearing a hunter.nin mask said, yes, Lord Zabuza. Get it done. If you screw up e.g. wounded, I'll take it out of your paycheck, said the corpulent dwarf. As the mist rose, Kakashi and Tazuna were still walking together, Sakura was nagging and adoring Sasuke, and Kuramaru was still speaking with Hinata. What the? Kakashi exclaimed. Playtime, Hinata asked. Playtime, Kuramaru declared, grinning devilishly. There was a frightening laugh that came from nowhere that could be seen or identified. Zabuza, who emerged from the trees to attack them, remarked, Kakashi of the Sharingan Eye, what a pleasure, it's going to be fun snuffing you out of our bingo books. The mist swordsman looked at Tazuna as he raised his sword, but Sasuke tackled him out of the way before Zabuza could cleave him in half, and Kakashi avoided the nearly fatal blow from above. Sasuke shouted, get out of the way, old man, and shoved him aside. A strange purple and black sphere of energy appeared in Kuramaru's hands as he said, take this. Kage Tama, Shadow Sphere 5000 Kanai, he said, as the orb was hurled into the man's stomach. Suddenly, he felt 5000 Kanai slam into his body, knocking him back. You bastard, Zabuza grunted. What power? How could such a pathetic pile of shit like Naruto or Kurama or whatever his fucking name is, preform a jutsu like that? No, I am an Uchiha. I will kill this man to activate my Sharingan. Sasuke thought. You forget about me, he replied. I didn't forget about you, I just didn't care, he shouted. Take this, as he threw a big shuriken, but Zabuza caught it and threw it back more quickly, cutting Sasuke's arm and heading for Sakura. Sakura managed to avoid it by being pushed by Hinata, but the shuriken wounded her in the leg. No, Hinata! Kurama screamed as he saw the Hyuga girl get hurt. He rushed to her, but Zabuza attacked him by rugby tackling him. Kurama kicked Zabuza away, landed on top of him, and then grabbed a kunai to stab him in the eye. He turned on his back and screamed, "Aw fuck fuck fuck." The Uzumaki ran to Hinata as a hunter nin showed up and knocked him unconscious. Who are you? Kakashi inquired. As she vanished, the gender questioned masked ninja said, My name is Haku. I'm a hunter nin from the village hidden in the waves. I have been assigned to find and kill Zabuza Momochi, seeing as you have done so I will take his body back to my village. Thank you and goodbye. Kakashi remarked, damn it, we have to reach them. Sakura and Sasuke questioned, why? Because that hunter nin should have killed Zabuza immediately, but she didn't, they're obviously together, stated Kuramaru. Shut up Naruto, it's not like you know what you're talking about, replied. When Kakashi realized he was bleeding, he moaned in agony and began to move, his body throbbing. Actually he's right, he said. Now let's go after them. Sakura and Sasuke picked him up after Tazuna said, quick grab him. My place isn't too far from here, my daughter will be able to care for him. They both turned to face Naruto after Hinata had healed him. Sakura inquired, when did you learn that? His statement before he leapt off was, just from a scroll I needed to get my chakra control down to a T, so I decided to learn how to heal. Anyway let's go. Sakura and Sasuke couldn't help but notice his increasing skill and personality changes. Let's go Sakura, she chewed on her hair and said, sure, as they moved forward holding Kakashi. The fat midget remarked, you should be demon right, how pathetic. Do not talk to Zabuza like that or I'll kill you, she replied. The injured Zabuza said, Haku don't, we need the money. Haku said, Zabuza. Don't worry, Haku got a good slice at him, if he's not dead he'll be out of commission for a while, that gives us time to replenish our strength. At Tazuna's house, in the meantime they had just arrived and found Tazuna's daughter and grandson. They gave Tazuna's daughter Hinata and Kakashi, and she began to heal Kakashi while Kuramaru healed Hinata. At first, he was unsure if using the Kyuubi's chakra to heal her would be risky, but he did it because it healed her more quickly. After a day, Hinata was largely recovered and could walk, talk, and pick things up again, but she wasn't prepared to fight. Kurama checked on her every 30 minutes and was quite concerned about her, something Sakura had noticed. Sakura didn't like it when Sasuke was shown that he understood that the Hyuga would have known, but she didn't like hearing Kurama constantly insult him about his lack of skill. Kakashi had instructed them to train by walking up trees, but to everyone's surprise, Naruto and Hinata knew how to do it. The young boy Inari would frequently just stare at them, say something about heroes not existing, and then run off to cry in his bedroom. Kurama would frequently grit his teeth and try to slap him, but one day, about a day before Kakashi was active, everyone tried to make friends with him without any luck. Tazuna's daughter said, hey there, Sasuke. You like you've been fighting a small baby bear, Kurama replied. Shut up, loser. Oh, why so techie, Uchiha? Kurama remarked, grinning to convey that it was a joke. Shut up. The statement, dude calm down, it was only a joke, was made by Kurama. When the ghostly Inari said, both of you are going to die, why do you try to believe you're going to stand a chance against Gato? He'll find you and cut you open and skin you like deer. Sakura and Hinata, who had just entered, turned to face him. Kurama shouted, and how would you know that? Inari yelled, shut up, you're not an orphan. You never felt loss, he added. How would you know whether I've experienced loss before? It's not like you had somebody come up to you and then try and murder you. Made everyone shit themselves with fear. It's not like you had somebody you considered a brother, a father try and kill you, nor have you been hated by everybody in your village, he yelled. We'll have you, answer me, he said, sounding more animalistic than a rabid dog. I've suffered more than anybody here. Sakura was about to interrupt on Sasuke's behalf, saying, you have no idea how much pain I've gone through because of my father's sin. He caused me so much pain, all because he wanted more power for himself. All I want to do is kill him, but the fact is he's probably already dead. He yelled, almost screaming hell, but it was difficult to tell if he was screaming or breaking his lungs. After getting up, he walked out and vanished, smashing open the front door without breaking it. Kurama-kun, she exclaimed, and followed him. Wait, Hinata, Sakura said. Yes. Why would you want to help him? He's a psycho, he just made that all up, replied Sakura. She slammed her fist into Sakura's face and fled after Kurama, shocking everyone by saying, because I love him and he didn't make that up, it's the truth. Inari, meanwhile, just sat there sobbing like a baby. As she chased after the Uzumaki heir, she wondered, Kurama, where are you? Hinata was called out by a male voice, and when she turned around, Kakashi was there. What's happened? Basically, Inari went and started running his mouth about being an orphan, which pissed off Kuramaru. He went berserk at Inari and spilled out some very disturbing news. Kakashi exclaimed, like what? Assuming it had to do with the demon. Well, he said he was told by someone that she was his mother, but they must have been some sort of ploy to get Kurama alone so they could hurt him, she said with almost tears in her eyes. Hummed Kakashi, who also believed that was cruel to the Kyuubi child. Damn it. Smack. Damn it. Smack. Damn it. All Kurama could hear as he punched the tree, causing it to fall, was smash, ka, plonk. A female voice behind him said, well, you're not in a good mood. He turned to see a woman with brown hair and a basket. He said, somewhat perplexed, oh hey who are you? My name is, she said, Sho, I came from the village hidden in the waves. Oh really? I am looking for a man named Zabuza Momochi. He's a criminal that must be stopped because I am a ninja of the hidden leaf. She looked upset as she said, oh, okay. Hey are you okay? Yeah I am. Say you look familiar, are you friends with a member of the Hyuga clan? Yes, why and how do you know that she's Hyuga? Well, I might have seen you with her in the town center. And what about the fact she is a Hyuga? Well, the Hyuga is a bit obvious, still I have to say with eyes like that I am surprised she hasn't been killed yet. What? Kurama cried. Back in my home country, everybody was afraid with those who had Kekkei Genkai. When I was a child there was a great purge which killed 90% of those who had Kekkei Genkai. When I was young I discovered my gift, my mother told me never to use it, but unknown to us my father watched it from a nearby hill. Enraged he killed my mother and almost killed me until she stopped. I ended my own father's existence. She stopped. Soon after I was alone and afraid until someone special entered my life and gave me a purpose. She gasped and reached for a kunai as he said, that's so sad, almost crying. Haku. Relax, I'll wait for my chance to defeat when you fully armed, beside it wouldn't be fun otherwise, he said, pausing. Besides I understand how you feel. Wait, you have a Kekkei Genkai? He paused and said, what I'm about to tell you is top secret. Do not tell anyone. She nodded and said, the Kyuubi, also known as the nine-tailed fox, is locked inside of me. She looked at him in shock but quickly pulled herself together. No, not really, but I understand what it's like to have people want to kill you for something that's not your fault. I see, I am guessing you've been hated because of it. Yeah, and you haven't heard the worst of it. Like what? Kurama's face immediately took on a look of pain. One time when I was 3 a woman came up to me and said she was my mother. I went with her to a house and with her were a man and 2 children. The next thing I know is I have been whacked in the stomach. Suddenly I am the floor coughing up blood. I ask the kids for help but they start smiling and start punching me too. Then the woman gets a knife and starts stabbing me in the back. After a minute I pass out and they left me for dead. Then, he stopped. I felt something over my body. The next thing I knew the boy, the girl, the man and woman were dead. limbs, organs and even skeletons were missing from their bodies, and it was at my hand. Haku stood there in horror, not at Kurama, but at the way people behaved. She wanted to throw up, so she just hugged the boy and left him alone, staring at the floor. Unbeknownst to them, Hinata and Kakashi watched him until he vanished, and two pairs of snake eyes were staring at them, one of them crying, before they all abruptly vanished. Kakashi recovered the following day, and they escorted Tazuna back to the bridge. As soon as they arrived, the fog started to rise. Kurama was left at home because he had been practicing a new jutsu the day before and was unconscious. Sakura said, "Huh." Sasuke sniggered, "HMPH. Come out, Zabuza." Kakashi yelled. Hinata pondered, "I wish Kurama-kun was here." The words, "Oh Kakashi, how fun, I can't wait to spill your blood on my sword," were accompanied by a dark laugh. Kakashi questioned, "Didn't you already do that?" "No, that was Haku. How do you think you didn't notice she paralyzed your pain so you would move around more and bleed faster?" He giggled. Bastard stopped and said, "Sasuke, stay with me. Hinata, activate your Byakugan, and Sakura, stay by the bridge builder." "Right," they all responded. She exclaimed, "Byakugan," and activated her Kekkei Genkai, causing her to gasp. She then described the thousands of chakra lines that were flowing through the fog. "You must be surprised, Hyuga, the last thing you would think to see were disembodied chakra veins," laughed Zabuza. Suddenly, water was poured onto the bridge deck around Hinata, and mirrors started to emerge from the water. Then, it happened. Thousands of senbons rained down on her, cutting and slicing her. She was powerless to stop the intense pain that was plaguing her body repeatedly, despite her best efforts to avoid them. She cried out in agony, but nobody listened because they were too busy. Zabuza, meanwhile, was battling Kakashi head on and had called forth one of his ice golems to battle Sasuke. They wore huge silver-backed creatures made entirely of ice and masters of water and ice jutsu. Sasuke had the fireball jutsu, so they thought this was a pitiful attack, but the creature could counter them with ice and water jutsu and could regenerate its wound from the melted water and the water in the mist, giving it not only an infinite supply of water for its jutsu, but also a quicker rate of regeneration. Was observing the television. "Where is everybody? Getting themselves killed," was Inari's icy response when his mood abruptly changed. As he walked away, he said, "I'm guessing they're at the bridge." Kurama arrived and saw the mirrors right away. He wished he hadn't gone inside because he saw the injured Hyuga bleeding half to death. He ran after her right away and examined her wounds, but her eyes were closed. Suddenly, he felt anger consume his mind, and his seal started to spread across his body. His blonde hair turned a Kyuubi orange, his skin darkened a little, and his eyes changed from white to solid black. She cried, "What this power? This must be the nine-tailed fox." He screamed, "I'm going to kill you. What happened to him? He's totally changed from the boy I met yesterday," she believed. When she leapt to another mirror, he grabbed her leg and slammed her into the ground, rendering her unconscious. The mirrors smashed as the Kekkei Genkai deactivated. "Take this," he said. After 2 minutes, nothing happened except for a few complaints that relieved Kurama, who was on top of Hinata's body and didn't care if his chakra had any negative effects because he just wanted her to live. He then started to heal her. Suddenly, two figures that were invisible until they came into focus, the inhuman golem and Zabuza, brought Kakashi and Sasuke's clothing into view. Kurama extended one hand and started spinning, while with the other, the chakra grew until it was a black and yellow orb. He screamed, "Kage Tama, alternate form," and slammed it into the golem arrows, which first surrounded the golem's body before completely encircling it before vanishing. The golem's blue eyes turned yellow, and then it started attacking Zabuza. Zabuza had to cut him in half, which caused the golem's cryogenic blood to spill out, freezing his sword and shattering it to pieces. Zabuza exclaimed, "Damn!" Suddenly, out of the fog, Kurama appeared holding a hero Tama. He put his head forward before killing and destroying Zabuza. The blast tore off Zabuza's skin, exposing his muscle, and only the skeleton was left, splattering blood on everything as the skeleton hit the ground. Surrounded by his men, Gato remarked, well, it appears that the demon of the mist was all a sham. What a pitiful pile of shit. Fresh meat. How fun," Gato gasped. "What? Your blood won't taste good, but I'll put up with it for now." Huh. The orange, blonde-haired Uzumaki heir suddenly charged at them, slamming into two men, punching them in the face before smashing their heads together. Two chakra tentacles then emerged from his back, grabbing hold of a man and tearing off his head before chopping off the 15's limbs. He then turned and extended two more tentacles, which slashed out, killing more people. Kurama's red aura then formed two tails that were attacking people. A demon's voice boomed, "Strip the flesh." Suddenly, a large chunk of red chakra emerged from his back, and a fox head appeared. It appeared as though the Kyuubi was the demon, who roared and killed everyone except Gato. The fat midget approached him and begged for his life, but the Kyuubi's body grabbed him and burned him from the strain of the chakra. After calming Kurama, the Kyuubi began to embrace him as the seal started to unspread and return to normal. "Father, help me," Kurama begged as he fell to his feet. After some time he yelled, "Hinata," as he collided with two of her. "Kuramamaru-kun," she whispered. "Thank God you're still alive," he said, nearly in tears. "I don't feel so good," she said, her eyes turning slightly purple before returning to their normal pale color. Haku had been assigned as a nin for Team 7 during sea levels and above, but due to her background, she was not permitted to perform menial tasks. It had been a few days since they returned from the Land of Waves, and Kurama was recuperating. They are still examining her loyalty to Konoha, but she only believed she was loyal to Kurama. She sympathized with his suffering over something that wasn't his fault, but Kurama made sure it didn't touch that area because of his relationship with Hinata. Hinata was growing stronger every day, learning new jutsu like the gentle step twin lion fists and expanding her chakra reserves through experience. She also improved her medical skills after Kurama taught her how to heal. Needless to say, she was already a skilled medic nin as she learned how to treat ever more dangerous wounds and make medicines and cures out of leaves. Formerly known as Naruto Uzumaki, Kurama Uzumaki had developed greater control over his seal, which allowed him to enter Gakido state, a third state. His seal's marks each gave him the ability to transform into a different form, which changed his affinity and enabled him to use various jutsu. Once active, his newly unlocked Gakido state enabled him to control and manipulate black flames that he could spit, throw, and fire. His hair also grew longer and maintained its yellow color, while his eyes became more red and his whisker marks became bolder. As he experimented with his fire abilities, he found that he could use his wind and fire affinity to create smoke, which allowed him to create smoke release. At the moment, his abilities are limited, and the best he could do was solidify the smoke to create weapons, such as kunai. Additionally, he was able to absorb smoke into his body. However, in practice, he simply layered smoke cells on top of his pre-existing cells, skin, and clothing, which gave him the ability to produce kunai whenever he wanted. The pathetic Uchiha watched as his teammates improved in strength, jutsu, chakra control, and other areas while he was left in the dirt. Even Kakashi was angry at his lack of progress despite learning the Chidori. They still had superior power. Sasuke's skill didn't change much to his disappointment or rage. He flipped a table a couple of times, but inside he was even more enraged. He was on the verge of killing himself to activate his Sharingan, but nothing worked. It was Friday, and Kakashi had just informed them about the Chunin exam. Everyone had accepted, including Haku, and they were all excited. They met in the right room, not the Genjutsu room, and applied before entering the room. Sakura yelled, "Hey Sasuke," and everyone moaned except for Haku, who didn't get it. "Oh, stop talking, you whore," Hinata snapped back. "Fuck off you slut, all you want is Naruto's cock. And you don't want Sasuke's." Well, it didn't hear a denial. Sakura was enraged and went to punch her when she felt a hand on her wrist. The next thing she knew, she was flung in Hinata's direction, who knocked her unconscious. "Hey, well, guess what, at least he likes me." When the blonde Uzumaki said, "Thank Kuramamaru-kun, I needed to put that bitch out," she smiled. First, the young, timid, Hyuga heiress knocked out Sakura Haruno. Second, she and Kuramamaru simply laughed about it as if it were nothing. And third, she was fucking giggling. A sight no one had witnessed from the bashful Hyuga. "You're welcome," he smiled back, making her laugh while Kurama laughed with her. Kiba exclaimed, Hi. Hinata." He had always attempted to approach Hinata, but he had realized that she preferred Kurama, which may have been the reason he had bullied him as a child, but he was always left in the dirt. She yelled, "What?" which made him wince. "It's just," he said, pausing, "why have you changed so much?" She gave him a perplexed look. "I don't know what you mean by change, I haven't even changed a bit." Well, actually, was how Shino, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kiba got started. Whatever, was Hinata's response before she turned to Kuramamaru and dismissed their worries. A voice that was unknown said, "Hey you guys, calm down." "Kabuto," a joyful Kuramamaru exclaimed. He answered, "Oh hey there, Uzu." "Wait, Kuramamaru-kun, you know him?" "Yeah, I've known since I was a child, but he was part of the Anbu adoption program, so I didn't meet him much." "So why did he call you Uzu?" "Oh, that's my nickname, because I am from the Uzumaki clan." Kurama simply laughed and shrugged his shoulders when he asked, a bit uninspired, don't you think? So you want to get some info on your opponents? Yes, Kurama replied. All right, then, who? Kabuto inquired. I want to see who the best of my team. I also want to see Gaara of the Sand's card, he said. 4 days had passed since he first met Gaara of the Sand, and let's just say that they didn't start working with the Sand Nin right away. The only Sand Nin there who appeared to be a challenge was Gaara of the Sand, and the reason the Sand Nin was frightened was because of Kurama's resemblance to Gaara. Although seeing a second Gaara walking around horribly traumatized them, Gaara and Kurama may have secretly found solace in the knowledge that someone else understood their suffering. As they hopped from building to Ichiraku's, Hinata questioned, are those Sand Nin? Kurama said, wait, what? And then he stopped to look down at the pavement where he saw 3 children. One of them was a woman with blonde hair, and the other was a man wearing black clothes and purple war paint, with a puppet tied to his cloth, covered back. Kurama jumped from the roof and slapped the purple war paint, wearing one in the face, knocking him to the ground and sending him flying into the air before landing on his feet. Hey, what do you think you doing? Kurama cried. Konohamaru, are you alright? Yeah, Kurama, he said feebly. You'll pay for that, you bastard, a furious Kankuro yelled. He looked at Kurama and said, interesting, you must be Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the 9-tailed fox. Kankuro, stop, he said in a firm voice, and they both looked up to see a younger sibling standing on a tree branch with his hands crossed. Come on, let's go. Both of them stopped and stared at him when he asked, how did you know? Besides, I've retracted my name, I'm known as Kuramaru now, he declared. Interesting. The reason I know is that I can feel its presence within you. It's stronger I've ever felt. You've embraced your hatred, as have I. You've become demon like me. Laughed. I am the host of the one-tailed beast Shukaku of the Sand. I understand your pain, Kuramaru Uzumaki. I find it interesting that you renamed yourself after the demon that made your life a misery. Well, actually 2 things. 1, my mother named me this when I was a child in honor of the demon, and 2, the beast himself comforted my lonely existence by adopting me. Mothers, is your mother alive, Kuramaru? Angrily, he said, I don't know. Interesting, so why were you called Naruto before? Because my fucking father, the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze, sealed it within my body after ripping it out of my mother's body and hopefully wanting to absorb its chakra and use it as a weapon. He grinned and said, I think your mother wants to meet you. Kumamaru, you will soon discover your destiny and a new family, he said before vanishing in a cloud of smoke that revealed he was a shadow clone. So that was Gaara. Why is obsessed about his mother? Gaara is adopted. He had the Shukaku sealed within him when we found him and we took him in. Or farther, his adoptive father wanted to control the Shukaku from the moment we found him. Found him? He asked. Yeah, 13 years ago there was disturbance in the mountains nearby a small village where some of our sages' rest was attacked by an unleashed Shukaku. It was sealed in Gaara. Everyone was dead and we believed that the creature killed the sealer, though we never found any proof. The 3 of you are easy. Kabuto put his fingers on 2 cars, and they started to spin as a profile of Sasuke and Hinata appeared on the first 2. Okay, so you are aware that Hinata has an A in ninjutsu, a B in taijutsu, and a C+ in genjutsu. She has completed 40 missions with a D rank, 2 C ranks, 4 B ranks, and 0 in her S ranks. Wait, since when did you go on an additional C rank and 4 B rank? Asked Sasuke. After I left the hospital I was only there a day. Kurama healed most of my wounds on the way home, so I was fine. Sasuke managed to say, Arg, in his rage. Next we have Sasuke Uchiha A+ ninjutsu, C taijutsu and C genjutsu 40D rank, 2 C rank, 0 B, A and S ranks 40D rank, 2 C rank, 1 B rank and no or C as expected, said he. Finally Kuramaru Uzumaki S+ ninjutsu, a taijutsu and B genjutsu 40D rank, 4 C rank, 6 B rank and oh wow an A rank and hell even AS rank. How the hell did you get those? Well, I may have snuck into the Hokage's office, found a few S ranks and A ranks, completed them and told the Hokage, and laughed, they're pretty easy. Hell, you have Senjutsu score here as well, you're AC rank but no one else here can do that, instantly makes you a Jonin. Well, what about Gaara? Oh yeah, S rank in ninjutsu and A in Tai while lacking in gen with only AC, he's completed 100 D ranks, 30 C ranks, 10 A ranks and 3 S ranks, never done any B ranks, and adopted son of the 4th Kazekage. Interesting, he said, sounding just like Gaara. Hinata giggled, you sounded like him then, he said, interesting, again, as if to make Gaara laugh. With the exception of Hinata, everyone gasped when Kuramaru said, oh, this is interesting. You and Gaara haven't come back with any significant wounds. Kuramaru simply smiled. Sasuke yelled, "That's bullshit, it has to be." A harsh voice behind them said, "Well, I can vouch that I've never come back with a wound. It was Gaara." "So then you must be Gaara? I am looking forward to facing you," replied Sasuke. He pointed to the blonde and said, "Kumamaru Uzumaki is the only person I want to face." Why would you want to fight a loser like him? He has no skill. Why would you want to fight him instead of the last Uchiha? Because you were in the hospital for 3 weeks while the Uzumaki was only in there for a day. Obviously he is stronger than you. Gaara simply shrugged his shoulders and left, saying, "What? No, he's not. I mean, if he didn't come back without a scratch, then why was he in the hospital?" Arg. The door flung open abruptly. They started the written test in 10 minutes after Ibiki yelled, "All right, maggots, it's time to take the written test." He went over the rules quickly, causing some people to become agitated. After Kurama finished the test and began to nap, Hinata used her Byakugan to steal Kuramamaru's answers. Although she felt a little guilty about it, it didn't matter because she knew he didn't mind. Even though he was stuck on number 6, Sasuke simply wrote down the solution in the interim. After an hour and a half, they discussed question 10 and it was answered successfully. Kurama smiled when Enko entered and messed up her presentation. She then led them to the Forest of Death, which is a funny statement given how carelessly she explained the rules to them. HMPH sounds easy. Before a kunai swooped past his face and a tiny cut appeared on his cheek. Enko was behind him, licking the blood off his cheek with a kunai. With a kunai to his face, she said, "If you think this going to be easy, then you're sorely mistaken." He merely grinned, but she was shocked to see that the cut had disappeared. His question was, "What's the matter? Have you spotted my gift already?" She thought, I would hardly call it a gift, but his red eyes, which were now slitted, were what really frightened her. A very pale man grinned as he turned to face the hooded figure beside him and nodded, making the figure vanish. "Oh, you look like you're about to shit your pants," he said, laughing. "Anyway, my team should go its way, bye." "Why you little," she began, but Ibiki interrupted her, and she stopped. They had entered the forest approximately 40 minutes prior. Kurama was in charge of a landslide, and they were moving all the time when a big snake suddenly showed up and attacked, scattering them. As Sasuke collapsed onto a tree branch, he spat out, "Auk." Hinata let out a "arg" as she fell to the ground. Kurama mumbled, "HMPH," as he touched down on the 3 trunks. Haku uttered the word, "ah," as she landed a few feet away. A pale man remarked, "Out of the 4 of you, you landed on your feet, which is interesting." "Who are you? No normal genin should be able to summon," he shouted. "And you are able to tell that I am using a summon and that normal genin would be unable to perform such a jutsu. Well done, Kurama." He shouted back, leaping to the ground and grabbing Hinata, "How do you know my name?" She replied, "I'm okay, Kuramamaru.kun," as she stood up. "Sure. Yeah." His head suddenly reached out and bit Hinata's neck, causing her to begin to spasm uncontrollably as purple chakra covered her body. "Well, it seems like this young Hyuga is a big concern to him," he grinned. "I will give her and him the curse mark to bend their will and have them come to me with her natural power while Q gets to have her son back." Kurama cried out in fury, "What did you do to her?" After grabbing Orochimaru's head and slamming it into his knee, he struck him twice in the face, causing him to retract his head and causing blood to flow from his mouth and noose. "Nothing much, I've just given her a cursed seal." "What kind? Do you mean, what kind?" "I already have a cursed mark, mine is known as the Oni mark." "Interesting, the one I have just given your teammate is the cursed mark of hell. I am sure she will love my little gift. Hell, maybe she will forget about you and become my apprentices," he said with a slimy grin. Kuramamaru's voice grew more demonic as his body changed. His hair turned orange, his nails grew longer and black, and he developed a chakra shroud with 3 tails. "I am the son of the Kyuubi no Yoko. I am Kuramaru Uzumaki. You will fear my name when I shout it out. If you kill me, you'll call it self-defense. If I kill you, I'll call it vengeance," he screamed as he lunged at Orochimaru, but he was able to avoid him. Orochimaru grinned evilly and said, Now, if you kill me, how will you ever find your mother?" "What? How dare you talk about my mother? She's dead. Kushina Uzumaki is dead." "Not really. If you want to find out, you must come to Otto," and laughed, "There you will meet her." He screamed, "Bullshit, once I get there, you're gonna backstab me or try and torture me for information on Konoha. I've already been told that lie and I'm not going to fall for such a pathetic lie." Red chakra started to condense into a ball. "Cage Tama!" screamed Kurama as he hurled a series of black tentacles at Orochimaru, who leapt out of the way. However, his summon did not fare any better, as 60 shadow tentacles impaled the enormous snake to the ground. As Orochimaru exclaimed, such power at such a young age, he could give any of the Sannin a run for their money. They were unaware that Sasuke was still alive and could observe the battle clearly, save for Hinata's curse mark. As he threw a giant shuriken at him, he dogged it, but it cut his face, causing his mask to tear off, revealing Orochimaru. His mind raced. Hey, I'm going. Hinata lay on curtains, and they both gasped. Wow, really, Orochimaru of the legendary Sannin, you're pretty pathetic, you know that. Sasuke demanded. How can you just shrug your shoulders as if you don't care and say, hey, you're one of the legendary Sannin, huh? Because I don't, wah. Then he saw Kuramaru attack the Sannin, knocking the Uchiha unconscious with the release of the chakra they were wearing, and then Orochimaru backed off. Kurama wanted to follow him, but Hinata, his most prized possession, needed more care. He stepped out of his demonic form and said, Oh Hina-chan, what did he do to you? What took place? Oh Haku, there you are, where have you been? I was attacked by this woman, crazy bitch bit me, then I passed out. Yeah, so much happened, I didn't know you left. What took place? Some guy on a snake attacked me and bit Hina-chan. I think he was gonna bite me, but I stopped him. Hina-chan? She raised an eyebrow as she said, hissing, what about it? It's just that such a title is reserved for loved ones, she thought. Oh, I get it, she's your girlfriend. What? Kuramaru blushing yelled. With a smile, she remarked, ninja must always hide his emotions. His agitated mood quickly gave way to embarrassment when he asked, Haku, are you joking? She asked with a smile, why are you looking shocked? Anything that can help me with Hinata. I'll try my best, but I can't be as good as I should. Why? Because I am a shadow clone, then dawns the authentic you. She's been knocked out, the woman made her faint when she bit her. Damn it, where are you? By the bank of the nearby swamp. I'll look after Hinata and Sasuke. He nodded and quickly reappeared with the young Momochi in hand, putting her besides the two other. After 2 hours Sasuke woke up, but he wasn't in a good mood. I mean, picture this, you're a stuck-up Uchiha with the biggest ego ever, you wear top of your class and everything, then the next thing you know the dead. Last, the loser, the doby, the monster, the freak that everybody hates turns around and defeats one of the 3 cage-level Sannin. How would that make you feel? Well, for this particular Uchiha, pretty fucking pissed. Next, Haku woke up when Kurama checked her back. He saw a tattoo with 3 tomoe in a circle. What was worrying Kurama was Hinata. She was out cold, her body spasmed occasionally, so that wasn't a good start. Next was her pained expression, and finally he was worried about Orochimaru. I mean, one of the legendary Sannin just attacked him. Sure, he was pretty weak, but he thought Orochimaru was more concerned with putting the curse mark on Hinata and was probably holding back. What concerned him more is the fact that he said his mother is alive. Grim memories of that family popped into his mind. Though Orochimaru wasn't one to trust, he wondered why he would say something like that, though it might have been a ploy to get to betray the village and go to Oto. While Kurama was caring for Hinata, the others, Sasuke and Haku, went to try to ambush a squad for their scroll. Suddenly, a group of 6 sound and leaf ninjas showed up and drew out their kunai. What are you doing, Kabuto? Kabuto drew his kunai and said, sorry, Naruto. I mean Kurama, it's just businesses. Let me guess, you want my scroll, indeed. So why don't you kill the sound nins and take theirs? Because they have Heaven's scroll and so do we. I already know you have Earth's scroll. Damn it, I don't want to kill Kabuto, nor do I want to kill his team, but they're forcing me to, well, kill them. The masked one said, Zaku, go ahead and have some fun. He paused before saying, sure Dosu, decimating airwaves. He shouted, striking Kurama, who was stunned to see triples instead of quads. Then, Dosu attacked him, followed by Kin, and after the repeated blows made Kurama's head ache, he transformed into Oni and sent one of his liquid chakra tentacles to kill one of the leaf nins. Knowing that they were not expecting an attack from the front, they ducked, and Kabuto threw a couple of senbons, but they were ineffective because he conjured a shroud of red chakra to deflect them. He laughed, seeing only doubles now. Trust me, Kabuto, they were useless my last mission and they're useless now. Decimating airwaves, he yelled again as Kurama was flung across the area, injuring him while he was down. You bastard, again, scolded him, again, scolded him once more. Again, scolded him again. He let out a cry of, ah, as he was struck, the 3rd time in a row, and went unconscious. Wait, what's this power? They exclaimed as they turned to face Hinata, who was standing there with purple chakra flowing around her in a spectral shroud. Her hair had black streaks in it, and she had spiral-like marks all over her right side. Her tone was venomous as she hissed, don't you dare hurt Kurama-kun, or, she paused, I'll kill you. As he wailed in agony, Hinata turned to face the second nin and drove a kunai into his throat. The others received the message and fled to the hills, but Hinata hurried to the unconscious Kurama and began tending to his wounds. "Calm down, little girl," was the first thing he heard from one of the leaf nin, but the next thing he knew, his arms were taken away. "Kuramaru-kun, I can't lose you, I just can't," she pleaded. He said, "Wah, who are you? Is that me, Hinata?" He reached for her head and said, "Really, what's happened to you? You look different, and your black and blue hair looks so pretty." This made her blush. "Kurama, this isn't time for you to be commenting about my hair, save your energy. I love you, Hina-chan," he said as he passed out once more, causing her to flush. When Sasuke and Haku saw the changed Hyuga, she turned around and became enraged. You abandoned him, now look what happened," she yelled. "If you didn't leave he wouldn't be wounded, I'll kill you. No, Kurama, wake up please." But it didn't help. She shouted, activated her Byakugan, and hurled herself toward her twin lions. However, at this point, her lions had transformed into purple chakra and resembled tigers more than lions. "What the who are you?" yelled Sasuke as he dodged the blow. "Stop talking, Sasuke." He froze when he realized that her conflicting emotions were driving her insane. "Kumamaru hated you. You were so stuck up for your precious clan. What if your clan hated you, then you wish they were all dead?" Haku shouted, "Hinata, wait, he's not dead." "What?" Hinata cried out. "Hinata?" Sasuke inquired when Hinata jumped to Kurama. Sasuke was shocked because he thought she was someone else. Her black hair vanished, along with the spirals on her right side, and she turned off her Byakugan. "He's been wounded, but he's gonna be okay. Oh, Kuramaru-kun, as long as you're okay I'll be fine," she replied. It's obvious you have feeling for him, Hinata. I don't want to be intruding in anything, but why? When I was young some bullies cornered me and were picking on me, but that's when I meet him, he saved me from those bullies." She stopped and laughed. "You should have seen his clone at the time, it was really pathetic, still he saved me. I always noted that he looked in the face of danger with such courage. When I got older, in fact it was only a couple of weeks ago, I started to talk to him more. He said he would never let my clan hurt me again. That must have been before the Land of Waves mission. I overheard that when I told about the meeting." "You mean you allowed your clan to harm you?" She instantly clenched her fists. "My clan always looks at me with such hatred. They don't see the next Hyuga heiress, they see a screw-up that can barely take any punches. I am so weak." But she stopped. "Kurama has faith in me and says that one day I will be a strong kunoichi. I must become stronger. No, I need to become stronger in order to protect who I love." She looked at Kurama with her beautiful lavender eyes. Kurama woke up 3 hours later. As he stood up, Kurama muttered, "Hey, what's going on you guys?" But he was immediately taken aback. Hinata shouted, "Kuramamaru-kun," and jumped on top of him, embracing him. It was quite a charming sight to see Haku smile, and even Sasuke couldn't help but smirk. "Whoa," he exclaimed as he flushed on the ground. "Come on you guys, me and Haku stole a scroll, let's get to the tower." Both of them nodded. After an hour, Sasuke remarked, "We're almost there." Haku said, "Come on, let's keep going." They all laughed when Kurama exclaimed, "HMPH, come on Squad 7, let's rock," letting a little of the old Naruto out. When they learned that only the Suna nins had arrived, they burst into the tower with grins on their faces. Gaara grinned, knowing that he had at last found someone worthy of his effort, while Temari and Kankuro were shocked to see that they were wearing 4 of them. 10 minutes later, Neji's team showed up, which infuriated both Neji and Hinata. Neji cried out, "How could that pitiful excuse for an argument beat me, the Hyuga prodigy?" But the next thing he knew, Kurama was clutching him by the throat. "I'll kill you if you dare to threaten Hina-chan in that way," he shouted. "I haven't been able to defeat him, so please don't kill him," a green-suited man with bushy brows and a bowl cut yelled. Kurama asked, "Who are you?" as he dropped Neji, who was having trouble breathing. "My name is Rock Lee. I hope to become a ninja who can only use taijutsu," he replied, "for the power of youth burns bright within my soul," said he. Awkwardly, Kurama replied, "Yeah." After 15 minutes, Team 8 showed up, along with the sound crew and the lone Kabuto who had been assigned to the sound crew. Meanwhile, Anko was running through the forest when she noticed Orochimaru's chakra from hours earlier, but she was still unable to locate him. She also noticed a more sinister and dark chakra, Kurama's chakra, which she kept going until she heard someone yell. "What the?" she cried as she headed for the yell. When she arrived, she saw a pale-skinned woman with red hair and slightly golden eyes that had turned crimson, like the Team 8 leader. "Who are you?" she asked, turning around to see that she was wearing a red uniform resembling the Sound 4 with a black belt and a black and red gourd on her back that was filled with napalm. The statement, "Ah, don't you remember me?" left Anko looking perplexed. Princess Anko gasped. You can't be." "But I am," she said. "I would kill you, but the memories get in the way. I have to say thank you for not being like the rest of the village and not attacking my son." "What, since when did you have a child?" replied she. 13 years ago on that night, but how are alive?" Anko gasped as she said, "Unfortunately, I was captured and then," she paused, "I meet Orochimaru." "What are you doing here?" "Just thinning out the numbers for my son," was how she described it before her body abruptly turned black and vanished undetected. "Damn it," was the purple-haired snake mistress's statement. After a day had passed, but no one else had shown up, either because they were killed by the woman or simply didn't make it. Sarutobi explained the true purpose of the Chunin exams. Kurama looked around the room and saw that Team 8 had Kurenai, Team 6, also known as Shika.ino. Shoji had Asura, as well as the Sand siblings and Baki. The Sound Ninja had a mysterious woman with purple hair like Anko's, purple eyeshadow and purple lipstick, and her name was Aki. What worried Kurama the most was the final team, as it was the same man who had disguised himself as Orochimaru, and his other two teammates were presumably also involved. Everyone was tense, knowing that the toughest ones were wearing Gaara, Rock Lee, and Neji. However, nobody realized that the former class clown, Kurama, had turned into a psychopathic badass, and that the supposedly weak Hinata would dwarf all of their powers. Kabuto was quiet until the fights started, so they moved to the seats where they could watch the fights in the large screen. Kiba Inuz aka and Naruto Uzumaki pinged the machine. The mysterious woman wondered, "Naruto, why did they change his name?" As he walked down the platform, he laughed and said, "It's our lucky day, Akamaru, we get the scraps." Then, all except Hinata and the mystery woman gasped when Kurama threw a kunai, and when it hit the floor, everyone saw the talisman on it. Sarutobi's eyes widened, and suddenly, Kurama was directly in front of Kiba, who recoiled. "What's the matter, pup?" Kurama grinned. "Hi." Kiba immediately found himself avoiding Kurama's blows and leapt away, putting some distance between them. "Whoa, what the hell, when did you get so strong?" "As I previously mentioned, I always have this strength hidden behind my mask. After Iruka attempted to kill me, Naruto Uzumaki passed away. Don't you understand, my power is greater than almost anyone in this room. Hell, I can rival a fucking Saninn." He screamed in a maniacal and husky voice. "Now you will die," he laughed. This was stage 2 of his seal Gakido, which made him smile. The seal on his neck grew as it covered his body. His hair grew longer and turned this time a dark traditional Uzumaki red. His body was covered in an odd tattoo. His claws and canines grew longer, his eyes glowed red, and the white turned black. Orochimaru did not make a curse mark like that, but he does, the mysterious woman dressed as Aki thought. Gakido State Fire Style Cage Flame Jutsu was Kurama's cry, and then a ball of black fire, resembling the Grand Fireball technique, erupted from his mouth like a seething dragon full of hate and darkness. Kiba was terrified, but he was able to avoid the attack as the fire inflamed a wall. How did he accomplish that? The overly enthusiastic Uchiha had forgotten that not everyone had to be a Uchiha to use fire style, yelled Sasuke, who was furious because a non-Uchiha had such a potent fire style. "Atta boy, Kurama, kick his ass," Hinata said, grinning at him. The enigmatic woman was Aki. She seems to like him. I guess I won't have to kill him." What was all Kiba could say as two huge chakra arms tightened their hold on him from behind. Kurama placed his hands beneath him, and as the blue and red bubbles flew out of him and fused and merged together, Sarutobi gasped when he realized he had called forth the Kyuubi's chakra. While Team 8's leader stood motionless, recalling the technique, Sarutobi, Kakashi, and Asura sprang into action, shouting, "Stop him! Stop him, for the love of Kami, stop him!" However, it was too late. The blast was fired, killing Kiba, and the shockwave knocked Asura and Kakashi back. Blood, flesh, and bone were all that remained of the enormous creatorware that Kiba had once stood on when the smoke started to clear. Deactivating his seal, Kurama uttered the words, "Karma's a bitch. You're a bastard." Kakashi and Kurenai yelled at him as they threw blows at him. Kurenai used AS-level genjutsu, but it didn't work, so Kakashi tried to punch him. After knocking out Kurenai and Asai, Kurama did the same to Kakashi before soaring to a balcony. Hinata gave him a menacing grin and kissed him on the cheek, causing him to flush. After being arrested, Kurama was told he had to leave the stadium. He would not be imprisoned or punished, but they took him to a room, gave him a chair, a table, and some lunch, and then they left, staring out the door. After finishing the bowl of ramen, Kurama simply placed his head on the table and moved to a corner to rest it there when a woman started to leak through the locked door. Kurama instinctively jumped out of the way and got a kunai ready, but as soon as she was out of the door and stopped leaking, she suddenly appeared in front of him, deflected the kunai in his hand, took his pouch and threw it away, and then, hugging him? Wah, what are you doing? I'll explain everything, but I need a moment. He shoved her away and said, "Get off me, you're not my mother." Instead, she smiled and turned off her henge, revealing her vivid red hair to him. "Yes, I am." "What? I am your mother, get away from me, you're not my mother. The last time someone said that was when that family attempted to kill me, bullshit. What's your name anyway?" he screamed. "Q Uzumaki. Well, my mother was named Kushina. Didn't skin that pale just go away," he said. Anko said, "Hey, what's going on? Wait, it's you." "Anko, are you familiar with this woman?" Asura inquired as to who was going with her. "Yes, I do," she said, but before she could say anything more, Q attacked them with her snakes, knocking them out, and then the woman vanished. As she stood up, Anko exclaimed, "What the hell was that?" "That bitch said she was my mother," as he extended his hand to lift her up, which startled her a little because she had just witnessed the same child who killed a 13-year-old boy in cold blood act with such civility, even though he had only used profanity in his final words. "Thanks," she said, pausing before asking, "What's your name again?" Her eyes widened when she realized that Kuramaru Uzumaki was the mother of the host of the Nine Tails. It had been a long time, but she couldn't help but notice how she revealed to her children that they were sons. "Are there any brothers in your life?" "A brother? No. Why do you ask?" "Oh, no reason. According to Anko, Lord Hokage Sama, I have urgent news. My former second sensei has returned. I believe she is after Kuramaru." "Who?" "The Uzumaki. You called him that, but why?" "He said that was his name." "Interesting. Still, I am forced to keep the Chunin exams open. Maybe we can lure her out during the finals." "Yes, Lord Hokage, but I also request something." "And what is that?" "After Kakashi got out of hand and tried to kill Kurama, I believe that I should start training him." He answered, "Oh really? Why is that?" "Well, I just feel this urge to help him. He has a lot of talent already, but I could teach him taijutsu and genjutsu as well as summons, of which he lacks." She nodded as she poofed away, saying, "Very well, you will start his training during the break between the prelims and finals." As Kurama walked up to the stand, Hinata spotted him and gave him a hug, which he returned. Sasuke glanced at the two and arched an eyebrow, but Haku simply grinned. So, what took place? Ino and Sakura had drawn, Shika, Tamari, Kankuro and Dosu won. The only ones left are me, Hinata, Gaara, Rock Lee, Neji and some guy the first don't care about named Yori. Anyway, the screen's about to get started. When Hinata Hyuga vs Neji Hyuga pinged the big screen, both Hyuga immediately smirked malevolently and leapt to their feet. "HMPH pathetic heiress," was the smug Neji's comment, which made Kurama growl. The words, "Shut up you fucking rat," startled him, but Q grinned. Q thought, "Wow, she seems really tough, hi." They ran to each other right away, and while Hinata activated her Byakugan, she dodged several of Neji's blows. She then jumped out of the way of his 8th blow, which activated her twin lions, shocking Neji because he had never seen them before. She ran towards him and hit his body with 2 relatively powerful blows, and he swiped her feet under, sending her to the ground, but she jumped out of the way. Before he activated Byakugan, he ran towards her and resting into his gentle fist stance, he said, "That jutsu that was supposed to be for Chunin." He laughed, "I guess our timid Hyuga heir has an ace up her sleeve. Will I let you have a look at mine?" 64 palms. He shouted, then repeatedly hit her, bouncing her around like a pinball. She stood there hurt but wounded after the jutsu was finished, with nearly all of her chakra points blocked. "I won't give up. Huff huff. Not until. Huff huff. I prove to him. Huff huff. I am truly strong. Huff huff," said the panting Hinata. "Why would you go to such lengths for him? He is a monster, are you unaware of that?" he shouted. "Silence," she commanded. "Don't you dare call Kuramaru-kun a monster. He's anything but, and if he's a monster then I am monster too," she stated, "and now you threaten him. I want to prove that I am strong enough to protect him and the others I love like my little sister and Kuramaru-kun," she responded by punching someone. He blasted Hinata in the stomach, causing her to fly across the preliminary arena floor before toppling over and losing her life. "The problem is, Hinata, no matter how much you try you are doomed to failure," he said. "I am sorry. Cough. My Kurama. Cough. Maru. Cough. Kun, but I can't go on." "Hinata. Despite the fact that she was on the other side of the room and he was standing on a 50-foot balcony, Kuramaru shouted as he leapt to her and sat on his knees. "Don't worry," a medic said, "she will be fine." "You," he said, turning to face Neji. "Wait a minute, Neji Hyuga, I'm going to kill you." His tone was one of pure venom as he exclaimed. "All right, you two calm down," said Hayate. They both said, "Fine," at the same time. The eyes of Kurama, Sasuke, and Rock Lee opened when Gaara Uzumaki vs Rock Lee pinged the machine. "Wait, you two are from the same family, but you a sand nin and you're a leaf," replied Sasuke. "Well, actually we're from an all but destroyed clan," causing Sasuke to widen his eyes. "See, your clan's Fuinjutsu accidentally destroyed the land of the whirlpool and destroyed Uzushiogakure. They were spread out and my mother fled to Konoha while Gaara's mother must have gone to Suna. Still I am surprised to meet another member of my clan." Not only were the Uzumaki a clan, but they were virtually exterminated like his own, leaving Sasuke stunned. "So then are Kankuro and Tamari members too?" "No, just me." Interesting. At first glance, Kurama became worried when he remembered Hinata's giggle. Gaara jumped to the ground and turned to face Lee, frightening Tamari with the increasing murderer's intent on her face. This isn't good. Why, when he's like this he's a monster. In the meantime, Rock Lee had to remove his weights. "What's the difference?" "It's just weights," Tamari said. "No, they're chakra weights. The more chakra you put into them the heavier they are." "So how much do they weigh?" "Smash, about that much," Kurama chuckled. Rock Lee hurried around the tournament, but it was useless. Even if he cut Gaara, he would have to use 8 gates, but poor Lee found out that they were hollow, meaning that the now exhausted Lee would soon collapse. Gaara then grabbed hold of him with his sand and prefabricated sand coffin, severely wounding the taijutsu ninja. Gaara yelled about his mother before he calmed down and left. "I must kill him," Gaara said, but Rock Lee's sensei Might Guy stopped his attack. His head began to throb, and Kurama's head throbbed slightly as well. After Sasuke defeated the Yori in combat, they started to depart, but just as they were about to do so, the Hokage appeared in front of Kurama and requested to speak with him. Kurama's eyes widened as he prepared to correct the Hokage on the fact that his name was Kuramaru, but he wasn't sure if he was aware of it, and he was also too eager to learn from the snake mistress of Konoha, Anko Mitarashi, herself. "Naruto, I know that you're very strong, but there's someone who would really like to work with you on your jutsu with you. Her name is Anko Mitarashi, and she wants to become your teacher and sensei while during the break." "Oh really, that's really cool," he responded. Kurama laughed and asked, "What is it?" When he was told, "You will meet her in the morning at the training ground where Kakashi usually trains you." "Nothing really, just the idea of Kakashi teaching me anything pretty silly anyway. What happened to him?" "Kakashi has been taken to have a psych evaluation and 30-day discharge from duty along with Asuma and Kurenai." "Okay. Bye," he said, "bye," as he saw Kurama chase after Hinata and disappear into the distance. The following day, Kurama showed up and promptly took a seat, and Anko emerged. "You got her fast." "I am half an hour late," she laughed when she said, "Well, I'm used to Kakashi being late for 2, so you're pretty early for me." He nodded. "Okay, so then you're Kurama, correct?" "Well, my name is Anko Mitarashi, and I'm going to be your new master, sensei, from now on. Okay. Today, I'm going to try and teach you how to summon, and if you get that down, I'll be able to show you how to perform hidden shadow snake hands," he said, beaming back at her. If anything made him happy in this world, it was trustworthy people, Hinata, and learning new jutsu. His chakra control had significantly improved since the Land of Waves Hell, which was amazing previously, so this would be simple. "So how do I do it?" "Well, you must sign this scroll first." Amidst the smoke, a large scroll bearing the summoning of Witten appeared. Kurama was shocked to see several names on it, including Orochimaru, Anko, Kabuto, and Kushina Uzumaki. "How the hell is my mother's signature here?" "Huh, wait, is this Kushina person your mother?" "Yeah. That can't be, you were orphaned by birth, but this signature appeared last year." "What? Well, maybe it's coincidence." "Yeah," he replied. "Though when I think about that, woman said she was my mother and Orochimaru did mention her. Still, I don't believe my mother is alive. I mean, I know Uzumaki lifespan and resistance is massive and all, but I don't think having a Biju's chakra taken out and then back in wouldn't kill a host," he believed. The words, "Just write your signature in blood," caused Kurama to raise an eyebrow, but he quickly bit his thumb, wrote his name, and the scroll rolled up before scattering. "Okay, now all you have to do to summon is take a bit of blood, just bite your thumb and slam your hand on the ground and put chakra into it. Remember, the more chakra you put into it, the larger the summon will be." He said, "Okay," and then bit his thumb. You don't have to bite your thumb again, it should already be bleeding. Actually, it was all healed, dang, and now I've got to bite it again. To her astonishment, he showed her, well, let me see, and she was fully recovered. He said, anyway, let's do this, then slammed his thumb into the floor and called for Manda. Who summons me? Oh hello Anko, your sensei's been pain in the ass bit, what do you wish me to do? She pointed to the blonde and said, he summoned you, not me. And who might you be? My name is Naruto Uzumaki, the snake said, opening its eyes wide. You must be Kushina's child. Huh, what do you know about her? That she is your mother and is working with Orochimaru. Apparently from what I can tell she was forced to leave your village. You're not lying to me, are you? Of course not, I am summonware bound to be truthful to her summoners on penalty of execution. Well then I don't know how to feel. On one hand I want to drop everything and find my mom, on another I want to train, and third she's working with that bastard Orochimaru. Hold on, did you meet him? Anko inquired. Yeah, he bit Hina-chan. Where is she that we must locate? She went into a panic. What's wrong? She has a curse mark, how are you aware? I have one. Oh, can you tell me how to control mine? Wait, you have one too? Yeah, but mine's from the Kyuubi. It's cursed seal of destruction. It doesn't have any side effect unless it's active. When active I become a killjoy, so I use sparingly. My only problem is that I am prone to random spasms of killing intent. She joked at the end. Yeah, mine does that too. I'll teach you how to control it, but let's find you a girlfriend. Hey, he moaned. He quickly nodded as they departed, asking, now, do you want me to teach you? Before scattering, he muttered angrily, hey guys, I'm still here. Aw fuck it, they don't about me, I'm going home. When Kurama arrived, Hinata was sleeping in her favorite spot in the village, the Forest of Death, near the Chunin exam tower. Kurama! She exclaimed joyfully, who's that? He was interrupted when Anko swiftly took off Hinata's jacket to examine her neck. He couldn't help but smile when he saw her lacy bra, but he quickly turned away when he saw Anko's frown. Despite Hinata's blushing, she was trying her hardest not to faint. Oh, this is Anko. Sensei, she's been training me, but she wants to see if you have a curse maw. Shit. Anko cried out as she saw what she had been afraid of. A strange black mark with 6 tomoe surrounding it, which was a kanji for love. What's the matter? She has a curse mark. This one seems to have a total of 4 stages from the chakra complex, seal and lock. There are several forms of complexes and this one has surpassed even my own. What's a complex? The majority of people have their own chakra network, but when a curse seal is created, an additional chakra network is created and produces a purple or red chakra in your case. In the first state, they are totally disconnected from the chakra network. The purple chakra, on the other hand, degrades the user's soul to that of absolute evil. If you practice a form of play possum jutsu and temporarily kill yourself, then confine yourself in a special sealing jutsu, the seal will connect itself to your real network and allow the chakra to flow through your body. It is said that further stages allow for further integration and upgrades to your form. She blushed as he hugged her and said, I see, if it weren't for the side effects, I would be inclined to use my seal more often, but I don't want my Hina-chan to go through being well dead. Anko nodded in response to Anko's statement that, anyway, I think we should get back to our training, don't you think, Kurama? They departed, but Kurama assured her that he would see her after training and tell her about his awesome new jutsu and what to expect at the finals. 2 hours had passed since Kurama and Hinata had last seen one another. Now that he had mastered his ultra cool jutsu, Kurama was on his way to the ramen bar, where he promptly sat down, greeted Hinata, and placed an order for a bowl of red miso ramen. So, what did you discover? Inquired Hinata. I've learned to summon snakes and use hidden shadow snake hands. So now you have a lot of snake jutsu. I wouldn't call it a lot, but yeah, I have learned quite a few jutsu. Cool. Have you gained any knowledge? Yep, I have learned 64 palms and I have created a jutsu based of it called Protection of the 64 Palms. Don't you think it's a little long? What should I make it shorter? How about just something shorter? I guess I can call it 64 palm tama. Sickage. Look, Kurama, in the finals, if you fight Neji, I am gonna tell you a secret on how to defeat him. There's a blind spot directly behind the eyes of the Byakugan, she whispered to him. Thanks, that will come in handy if I fight him. She placed her head on his shoulder and said, you're welcome, Kurama-kun. He didn't mind. He simply finished his 18th bowl of ramen before nuzzling her head. With a slick, sharp, toothed grin on his face, Orochimaru remarked, it appears that we have deceived the Inazaka clan into thinking we are going to kill Kuramaru, but in reality we will burn the village hidden in the leaves to the ground. I hope everything will go to plan, but I feel my children will reject me. Don't worry, I believe if we but give them enough dishonor to their villages they'll come and be reunited with their mother, Kushina the Q-sword master of Otogakure. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Kurama Uzumaki, formerly known as Naruto Uzumaki, had been practicing with his new sensei Anko for a whole month. He was learning how to execute numerous hidden shadow snake hands at the time. However, he only had 2 minutes left to get to the arena, so he arrived fast, and Sarutobi started speaking. Even though one of Jiraiya's spies claimed that Otogakure was under Orochimaru's control, Sarutobi quickly learned that the Otokage was actually a woman, and the Kazekage sat with him as well. Beyond Konoha. Alright, you know what to do. When Kabuto activates the Genjutsu, you two will perform your objectives while Gaara activates his Shukaku form. As Tamari and Kankuro put it, yes sir, HMPH, was all Gaara could say. Meanwhile, I will attack the left wall with the tri-headed snake and Manda. Meanwhile, Kushina wearing the Otokage robes will attack Sarutobi till I get there. Unless she kills him, after that she will go and find her son Kurama. Be ready for anything. Even you, Gaara. Kurama is the host of the Nine Tails, and while Kushina has given us information on the tailed beast's abilities, we still are unaware of the boy's abilities, Orochimaru said. Gaara freaked them out by saying, trust me, if you think I'm scary, then Kurama is a nightmare. His siblings exclaimed, what? The anger in his eyes, his hate, no wonder he's so powerful. His hate drives him forward. He says that the Biju that lives within him fathered him when he was child. He told me he does not tell anybody this information other than the ones he trusts. I really hope I do not fight him, because even I, Gaara of the Sand, am scared of his abilities, causing Tamari and Kankuro to shiver. They nod and shuffle out of sight, saying, Gaara, stop frightening your teammates and get into your positions. After Sarutobi concluded his remarks, Kurama stood with the other competitors, and the first match between Kuramaru Uzumaki and Neji Hyuga started. In an attempt to exact revenge for Hinata's beating during the preliminary round, Kuramaru smiled at this. On the right end was the blonde Uzumaki, and on the left was Neji Hyuga, a girl who beat up a pile of shit. Hi. Neji dived in with his fully activated Byakugan as soon as the two were facing each other, but Kurama ducked the blow. In order to slam his figures into the back of the soaring Hyuga and send him crashing to the ground, he joined his hands and mangled them together. Before slamming the Hyuga into the ground, he grabbed his leg. How could this be? I saw you when you W. Where A.at the Academy you were so weak, how are you so strong? I was always strong, I just hid it. I went through so much pain as child, I think only Gaara and Hinata could understand my pain. What pain? Hinata is of the main branch, she'll away be considered superior, Neji growled. At that moment, Kushina was shaking with rage and wanted to destroy the entire village, but she calmed down before her hidden power was released. Wrong, everyone in her clan treats her like shit. They don't see a strong and nice person, they see a weakling, and it hurts Hinata when they look at her like they did to me. Trust me, I've had those stares, those cold and hate-filled stares. And how would you know it's like to be me? What about me? Her clan treats me like shit too. I've been marked with a mark that has forever sealed my fate. How would you know what it like to be marked with a fate you were unwilling to accept? He said before revealing the cursed mark on his face. Oh wow. He began to giggle. You think you're the only cursed with a mark? How about this one? I was marked with a demonic mark and turned into a demon. But was that my fault? No, because the man I considered my brother tried to kill me. Gaara's gaze widened. You have no idea to be called something so many times that eventually you become it. I wasn't a demon, but the demon that was encased in my body chakra warped my body. I don't want to be a demon or hated, yet here I am a demon and hated. Kushina said, O Kurama-kun, I will never allow this village to harm you again. Once your mother can hold you again, I will never allow you to suffer in that way. Kuramaru-kun. Hinata wept. A harsh male voice said, why are you crying for him? He's a demon and ought to die. Hinata saw Kakashi when she turned around. How could you say that? Simple, he's a monster, he should be killed. Hinata screamed, you bastard, but Haku restrained her from acting hastily. Hinata, if you threaten him you be put into prison and never see Kurama again. Fine, but trust me Kakashi, I hate you. I hate your personality, I hate your patheticness, and I hate the fact that you hate Kurama-kun, and I want to kill you, she said as she left. Why doesn't she see Naruto as a threat, and why does she kill him? Kurama? He stopped and widened his eyes. Naruto knows what happened on the night of his birth. About the kidnapping and the orchestrated attack, damn it. I wonder if he knows what happened to Kushina. As he claimed to be a demon, some were horrified by the village's treatment of him, while others were scarred of him. In the meantime, everyone in the stadium was half sad and half horrified, but Neji was the most frightened. In contrast to the watchers, he was able to see the Uzumaki's chakra, which was red, a thick scarlet red that resembled blood, instead of the typical blue. He was frightened by more than just the demonic presence he saw. The seal complex on his stomach was followed by the strange extra chakra complex on his forehead and shoulder. He stammered, "What are you? You're not even a demon, no, you're something more, and it horrifies me to see your foul chakra," he said, embarrassed. "You hurt her? What, Hinata, you hurt her? I won't let you hurt her." "The fuck are you talking about?" Suddenly, as they emerged from Kurama's back, two tentacles with faces resembling foxes appeared on each of them. Neji avoided them as they lunged towards him. As they attempted a second attack, he leapt over them, but as soon as he felt a sharp pain, he discovered a tentacle that had sprung from the ground and was clinging to his spine. His expression of horror spoke for itself, and then he felt his skull being removed from his ass and his spine being torn out. His organs were hanging from his ass, the spine was red with blood, and the corpse was leaking blood from his mouth. Winner Naruto Uzumaki, said the terrified Hayate, and the young blonde Uzumaki walked away silently as his red chakra returned to his body. The young blonde was viewed by the onlookers with regret, hatred, horror, grief, fear, sympathy, and ultimately contempt. Uchiha Sasuke versus Kankuro. Yeah, was all Sasuke could say as he walked past Kurama, terrified to death. Kankuro turned to Temari and nodded, saying, "Hey, this is going to be interesting." Temari then turned to Kabuto and nodded. A Chidori was there, a disguised puppet was heard, and everything was a blur when Hayate said, "Hi." In any case, the two are currently at a standstill after engaging in a fast-paced, entertaining altercation. Only Kankuro had the vaccine, and if Sasuke didn't give up, he would perish from the lethal poison that Chiyo had created for him. But the arrogant or proud Uchiha made the decision that he would take the vaccine and succeed instead of doing that. Unfortunately for him, Kankuro had just called forth two more of his lethal puppets, and believe me when I say that Uchiha was struggling to defeat even one, much less two. The extremely aggressive or foolish Uchiha had persisted in fighting, but now the young Uchiha had to give up or perish. His body was suffering from the poison, he was limping and his head and stomach were hurting, and he was experiencing internal bleeding, but it wasn't severe enough to be life-threatening. Since the venom had already been circulated by the adrenaline, it was too late, and the young Uchiha was forced to give up to Sakura and Ino's dismay because of his conceit. Winner. Kankuro, proctored. The audience watched in awe as the Konohaware's prodigies were easily defeated by freaks, one of whom was the now famous demon and heir to the Uzumaki family. Even though Gaara was the Kage's biological son, he didn't appear to be much more powerful than Kankuro, leading everyone to believe that he was. Later, an Anbu used a very potent healing jutsu to treat Sasuke's internal bleeding. Before using his genjutsu to put the crowd to sleep, Kabuto grinned inside his mask and said, "Ah, then it's time." The Hokage gasped, "What? I'm feeling exhausted," Hinata uttered drowsily. As she casted the genjutsu for her and Hinata, Haku exclaimed, "Wait Kai. I am all perky now, but it was genjutsu that Anbu is putting the crowd to sleep." When she made the connection, she paused and asked, "Look, Temari and Kankuro there disappearing along with Gaara, why would they do that?" Sarutobi was startled when the two other cages in the cage box turned on him. The green-clad cage and the purple-clad Otokage started fighting. It was ideal that he ran to the roof while dodging their blows. Sarutobi was trapped and up against two strong cages after the Otokage used Sound 4 to form a barrier. The grinning Otokage told the arrogant cage, "Retaliation is finally within our grasp." Sarutobi said, "I must ask, who you are?" When she tore the veil over her face, she revealed Kushina Uzumaki's face. My Sarutobi, have you gotten forgetful? Then allow me to show who I really am," she said. "What? Why?" he gasped. Why did you leave Naruto?" "Who? Kushina, Naruto your son? I only have two sons and neither of them have that name." "How can you say that? You left Naruto to fend for himself and now you pretend like he doesn't exist? Don't you understand Minato died placing the nine tails inside him?" She paused and said, "You mean Kurama?" "Huh," said the bewildered Sarutobi. "I've figured out my child is named Kurama, you must have named him Naruto." "Well, none of us knew what you were gonna call him, so we named him Naruto after Jiraiya's book at the time. But why have you called him Kurama?" "Correction, I called him Kuramamaru after the nine-tailed fox that lives in him and me." "In you?" "Yes, when Minato attempted to control the nine tails he split it in half. I absorbed the other half and once again became a host of the nine tails, but this time it was different, this time I died." "What? I was mortally wounded and then I bleed out, that's when I died. Luckily Orochimaru was hoping to gain information on the current situation and then he found me. It took 4 weeks for me to recover. Most people would have died or been hospitalized for at least 3 months, but of course my Uzumaki vitality allowed me to recover faster. When I woke, Orochimaru told me about what had happened and that there was a blood barrier around the Konoha set up by Kakashi, not allowing me to get in or out. However, when Kurama had his mission in the wave, the barrier was shut off because Kurama was genetically recognized as me by the barrier trapping him. I was able to slip in. He paused and covered his eyes with his hat before asking, "Why would you work for scum like Orochimaru? Why would you be friends with scum like Danzo?" "What?" asks the perplexed. She paused and clenched her fists, saying, "It was him that took me to Orochimaru and caused me to suffer." 13 years prior, Kushina grabbed the red chain and drove it into her stomach, saying, "Ha ha, I got it." Minato screamed, "No," as he saw the chain, which stood in for the Kyuubi's chakra, dissolve into her body and fall back dead. He roared, "Damn it, fuck, and now this is it, I'm going to die because I had to use dead demon." He calmed down, but he was furious because he felt the Shinigami eating away at his chakra, which dropped to 0. After 2 hours, Jiraiya grimly remarked, "But we don't know where Kushina is. Maybe she was killed in the rampage. It seems that he died from chakra exhaustion," he suggested, making the old man's skin crawl. Anbu popped up in poof. "Yes sir, find Kushina Uzumaki and if she is injured take her to the hospital." He stopped and said, "If not, take her to my office." In the meantime, Danzo's office. "Ah good, so you have captured Kushina Uzumaki. Fantastic, we will have to get rid of her if I wish to make her son a member of my root." Anbu. A man appeared behind him, and a snake slimy voice said, "Tut tut Danzo, I do not understand why you are so hasty to get rid of such an interesting subject." The man resembled Michael Jackson or Ozzy Osbourne due to his long black hair, golden eyes with strange slits, and white skin. He was dressed in a brownish outfit and a purple belt that resembled a rope. P.S. Ozzy Osbourne is a jerk. "Ah Orochimaru, so you've arrived. I have the documents I believe have brought the child with the Kekkei Genkai." Orochimaru nodded and smiled. "Well then, I am guessing you interested with this red-haired woman here from previous statement." Orochimaru's grin broadened when he said, "Well I guess you can take her for your experiment and need to get rid of her for my plans, so do what you wish." He nodded before vanishing into the darkness of Danzo's office, Kushina following him. "Thank you indeed. I hope to conduct research on Uzumaki clan vitality," he said. After 4 hours, the Snake Sanin had left the village with his 2 accomplices, 2 Otogakure nins, and they were now approaching rice paddy country, even though it had been 4 hours. After 3 minutes of healing and an injection, Kushina woke up from their pause to set up camp and tend to her wounds once more. She paused, then her eyes widened as she recognized the headbands. "Ah fuck, she repeated in terror. "Where am I, huh?" she asked. "Hold on Kushina, we don't want to hurt you." "Bullshit, you're fucking sound nins. You're probably gonna use me as breeding material or something like those Kumo bastards." One of them gasped, "What? Look, we don't want to harm you. Our cage wishes to speak with you alone." They nodded and departed the tent after saying, Okay, it's not like I got any choice." Then, wearing his Otokage robe, the notorious Snake Sanin Orochimaru emerged. "Wait, holy fuck," she exclaimed. "You're the Otokage?" He replied. "Then why are you here? I am sure that you have better things to do than kidnap me." "Kidnap?" asked he. "Yeah, didn't you kidnap me for one of your experiments?" "Well, first Danzo gave you to me as payment for giving him a user of a Kekkei Genkai." "What Konoha wouldn't do that?" Her eyes widened as he asked, "Really? I heard they used your son to imprison the yin half of the Kyuubi no Yoko?" She gasped, "My son wears Kuramaru," and screamed, "I need to find him," as she struggled to stand up. "Calm down, the fact of the matter is that your husband has just tried to kill you and that the village will probably attack you when you get there. Danzo said that he was going to get your son into his root Anbu, however I have made sure that I will have a spy in there to prevent the indoctrination of your son. However, I have discovered that Kakashi Hitaki has created a blood barrier no longer allowing anyone of the Uzumaki clan out or in. Until someone from your clan tries to enter or Naruto's first outside ninja mission is started, it will be active or if Kakashi dies. So I won't be able to see my son, pretty much." Expecting an evil smile from the Snake Sanin that was towing over her, she said, "Then what do you want me for? You said that Danzo is giving you information and that you have spies, so I can't give you any more. You can't use me as a hostage, seeing as I would be killed anyway, and the only other thing I can think of is being an object of your experiment." She received a genuine smile in return. "Ah Kushina, how you are surprised. You're smart, but do not listen to all the tales they tell you in the Leaf Village. However, the fact of the matter is that I am dying Kushina and I need to have an apprentice. Wait, you want me? Why on earth would you want me? I've only had 3A ranks and no S ranks, my chakra control is terrible. First Kushina, you're an Uzumaki, you have incredible vitality. Second, you have too much chakra, that's why you have really bad chakra control. Third, you have your yellow chakra, and fourth, you have greatest advantage, you are the host of the young half of the Kyuubi. Memories of Taken flashed through her mind, and she paused, saying, wait, I can't be, it was. Indeed it was, but you pulled it back into your body and then you died. What? She exclaimed. She had 3 options, but it was actually fairly simple. She could vanish, even though the auto nins might have killed her. However, with a rare defibrillator jutsu we were able to restart your heart before fixing your wounds and healing your injuries with standard healing jutsu. Anyway, what I am proposing is that when I inevitably destroy Konoha, I will help you find your son. Return to Konoha and die, or she might grow stronger and take back her son. Let's just say it was fairly simple for her to get stronger in order to locate her son. Yes, what else am I supposed to do, get killed or forget about him? Never, I am gonna become stronger so I can save my son from that disgusting place. Causing Orochimaru to smile. Well then Kushina. Chan, I guess we better get to the Otogakure. Once there I shall gift you all enormous strength. 13 years later. I see, well Kushina, I can. Shut your mouth, you piece of shit. It's not only the fact I was forced to abandon my son, but the fact that you kept him back, you stopped him from leering. If it wasn't for the Kyuubi, my son would probably be talentless. Kushina frowns as he says, you're wrong. Anko Midarashi had become his sensei. Really, she exclaimed, undoubtedly pleased that the young, purple-haired Kunoichi had already taught him the ways of the snake. She smiled and said, but I still have to kill you. I swore that will burn this town to the ground. She also said, that's good, then I won't have to kill off my old squad member and student. She paused again, saying, for Orochimaru, Sama. Sarutobi asked, is there anything wrong with him? The statement, he's dying of an incurable illness, caused Sarutobi's eyes to slightly widen. I see still that I can't let you destroy the village. I won't let you if it kills me, there are so many young souls here. Images of Kurama and Anko, Kakashi and Sasuke, Kurenai and Sakura, Hiruzen and Tsunade, Orochimaru and Jiraiya, flashed through his mind. There are so many people with connections, he said, referring to Minato, him and his students, Anko and Kurama at the ramen bar, Makoto and Kushina, Anko and Orochimaru, and him with the first and second Hokage. I won't let those memories die, he said, calling forth Enma, which turned to a large pole and ran in her direction. He smashed it on the ground and whimpered out, especially from someone who was once a bright young soul. She managed to avoid the pitiful attack. But now you're as corrupt as much as Orochimaru. As she stood up, she said, but you don't stop to think that your village made me this way. Face it, Sarutobi, your village makes monsters like me, Orochimaru, me, Madara, Danzo, she said, pausing before adding, Kuramamaru. He shouted, what do you call you a monster, son? Did it sound like it was a bad thing? She asked. Being a demon was the best thing that happened to me. What, how can you say that? I am not the Jinchuriki of the Red Nine Tails, I am the host of the Dark Nine Tails, a dark, more evil version than his predecessor, only I have been the host of this demon's incredible power. I plan to reunite with my son and take him to Otto, there I will gift him with this power and together we will live the rest of our days as a family. Though. She stopped. That Hyuga girl, she seems to be in love with him, I wonder if she would be willing to come with us. He was so angry at Kushina's evil nature that he yelled, don't you dare even think about corrupting her soul too. He never imagined that she would turn out this way. She was now not only collaborating with Orochimaru, who had corrupted her, but she was also unaware that his cherished village was to blame. She now intended to deceive Hinata. Actually, Sarutobi, I can tell already that she has already corrupted the bloodlust in her eyes when my son offed that other Hyuga. She started laughing. I mean, that was family and she was happy. She went on. I can tell why my son has such an interest in that Hyuga girl. I can't say my son has bad taste in women when she is almost as sadistic as my son, she laughed. You bitch, why have become like this? Why have you become such a heartless monster like Orochimaru? I don't understand, you've become so evil now you want to pass down that evil to Naruto and Hinata and make them auto nins. I don't get it. Because Sarutobi, all I want is to have my son back. It's been 13 years and now with the army I have confined. Take him back and he can finally be given a chance not to be hated by the villagers. She stopped. I am the host of the Gakido Kyuubi no Yoko and I will destroy Konoha. At the south wall, in the meantime, while the others battled a gang of thugs, Gaara of the Sand was currently engaged in combat with Haku, whom she had run to battle. Sasuke had gone with her because he thought she would undoubtedly perish without his Uchiha blood. Kurama and Hinata made the decision to support Haku after defeating them. Unaware of the reason behind her intense desire to reach Gaara, they eventually located her, but it was terrible. Strange markings covered half of Haku's body. They attempted to attack, but Hinata was now taken prisoner. Now that the seal was glowing and spreading over his body, causing his hair to grow, his eyes to darken, and a tattoo to appear in his reddish flesh, Kurama was furious and felt his anger taking over. "You capture my friends, you hurt the ones I love, I am gonna kill you." As his sand clinged to the side of his body, Gaara roared, "Uzumaki Kuramaru." He paused, then said, "Interesting, your hatred manifested your powers definitely to mine. Either way, it is my job to destroy your village. If I don't kill, then why do exist?" He flung his arm forward, sending sand flying in Kurama's direction. Kurama jumped from tree to tree, avoiding his blows as he evaded the attack. In response, Kurama made 2 red chakra hands so he could execute the Gekido coffin. He attempted to reach Gaara's body with one of the hands, but he ducked. However, a second hand emerged from behind him, having been concealed in the ground, and it seized Gaara as it erupted. "You think I am a fool?" Gaara uttered as the sand clone transformed into the real Gaara, forcing him to transform into his second form. Kurama smirked at how furious Sasuke was. "Shit, that didn't do any good. The only thing I can come up with is using a fire technique to make his sand to glass, but he has a large gourd of sand to replace it. So using up the chakra wouldn't help," he said, pausing as he went through some hand seals. "Fuck it, it's better than nothing," he said. Gaara's sand covered body and the fire collided, turning the arm into glass, but only the outer layer. In order to prevent the heat from transferring to the rest of the sand and turning into glass, Gaara had secretly placed a set of heat absorbing pads inside his armor. The glass broke off and hit the floor. Gaara exclaimed, grinning his signature psychotic grin. "Good, very good, Kuramaru Uzumaki. Very interesting, you're the first in a long time to be entertaining me this way. Finally I can meet someone that has at least a sliver of a chance to defeat me." His eyes widened. No one had ever stopped to consider why he was a monster. "Tell me, Gaara. I know we're in the same pain, but I ask, what made you this?" The blonde Uzumaki heir simply asked him why, even though they had previously assumed he was a monster. "I am the host of one-tailed tanuki spirit Shukaku. I was adopted at a young age by the Cage my adoptive father. At first he didn't know, nor did I, but when he discovered his adoptive kindness disappeared, he put me through experiments and told his ninja to try and kill me. I never knew my mother, but a man named Yoshimaru was hired to fake being my uncle, but he tried to kill me. Eventually I fell into my realm of darkness. It was then I stopped. I discovered the truth. My clan is your clan." "Huh?" Kurama said, his eyes widening. When Kurama fell on his ass, his eyes widened and he said, "But that's not it. I'm your half brother." "What does that mean? You're my mother's kid, or my dad's? Probably mom from the hair. Wait, then who's your dad?" Gaara laughs. "I don't know. Apparently they thought a demon had sex with her in her sleep, because even she didn't know. She was forced out of the village and almost killed. They say she was there trying to learn new jutsu, but I was found out they were going to kill me. But then the one-tails appeared. They planned to seal inside me the bastard demon child. But during the attack the demon used a tailed beast ball to destroy the village. After sealing him inside, the fire spread and killed all but one, who told the Chunin of my origins before dying. When my adoptive father found this out, he became cold and harsh to me and started to treat me bad. Eventually he had Yoshimaru try and kill me. That's when I snapped and became cold like you." After leaping to Gaara's tree, he stood in front of him and asked, "Then why are we fighting? We're brothers." When Kurama awoke from the sudden, tremendous explosion that had burned Gaara and knocked him unconscious, he saw Sasuke still beating on Gaara's face. "Stop it," he yelled. "Stop it, he's my brother, he's all I have left. So what? All I care about is getting stronger. He's a stinking sand nin. You bastard, I am gonna kill you." The words, "Ill like to see you try," under all the rubble, caused Kurama to look up and see a big tree crushing his legs. But to Sasuke's surprise, he simply grinned. Then, to Sasuke's horror, he watched as Kurama simply pushed the tree of his legs without growling or growing, and he watched as the 6 disjointed points clicked back into place each time with a crunching sound that made his blood chill. Kurama then stood on his legs that had been crushed beneath a tree just 10 seconds before. He stammered, What the fuck are you?" Upon hearing the words, "My name is Kuramaru Uzumaki and I am the son of the Kyuubi no Yoko the Nine-Tailed Fox," Sasuke was instantly overcome with terror. More than Gaara, Orochimaru, and Zabuza combined in just 13 words, this brat, who had previously appeared weak and had a loud mouth, abruptly transformed into the most terrifying, bloodthirsty ninja that Sasuke had ever seen. "The Nine-Tailed Fox Kyuubi no Yoko is my father." "What, you can't be that obscured?" "Believe it," he said, grinning at all the times he had said it, but now with a hint of evil and sadism. Anyway, you better piss off before I'll have to punish you. Shoo. Shut you up. I am an Avenger. I am gonna kill my brother, kill them, my family. As Sasuke gazed at the injured Gaara, his eyes widened and he asked, and what are you doing killing my family? He suddenly became aware that he was exactly like Itachi. Hinata was waking up in the meantime, but when she did, she was in the Hyuga mansion. She was confused because the last thing she remembered was Gaara's sandarm slamming her into the tree. Now that she was at home, though, she went to the door and laid the wrapped, nearly mummified Neji. Though she was still unaware of it, Hinata grinned. As she approached the front door, she could see everything. The enormous stream of smoke coming from the hospital, the tri-headed snake spitting acid, the forest's massive artillery fire, the academy, the town center where Ichiraku was, and the startlingly loud sound of kunai clashing. That's when she realized the kunai's sound was close by, in her own house. As she ran upstairs, she noticed her sister Hanabi unconscious on the floor in the room's corner and her father engaged in combat with multiple Kumo nins. She slid to her knees and hurried to her younger sister, who was unconscious and showing no signs of internal injuries or bleeding. As soon as she noticed the large, recently formed bruise on her shoulder, she realized she had been knocked unconscious. Subsequently, she focused on her father, who was engaged in combat with additional Kumo nins. She concluded that they were using this as an opportunity to acquire the Byakugan. The idea of her sister being used as breeding material on Twitter, even more so than herself, sickened her to her stomach. The final Kumo nin exclaimed, "Arg!" as Hiyashi killed him by closing his final chakra point. "I am going to assist with preventing the invasion to continue. You stay here and guard your sister." "Why? The branch member can do that. I want to help." "No," he firmly said. "Why? 'Cause you're weak." Hinata yelled, "Shut up, you bastard." Hiyashi's eyes widened. He had never seen his daughter in such a state. "All you see is a fuck up, a mistake. All you care about is replacing me with my little sister, and guess what? Ever since I started meeting up with Kuramaru-kun, I've got stronger than anyone else. Might I remind you that boy just killed you, cousin?" He froze when she shot back, "So you were probably trying to find a way for me to replace him anyway. Why did you get like this? Why?" Her locks covered the majority of her face. "Because you selfish son of a bitch tried to destroy my skills. You dismissed me like I was nothing, like I was a lab rat, like I was expendable. I am your daughter." "Shut up, you brat. Ever since you've started hanging out with the Uzumaki brat you've become so aggressive." "So what? It's not like if I was aggressive you'll care. You don't what you're talking about. Let's be honest here, Dad," using her father's name insultingly. "Ever since Mum died you never stepped up to the plate of caring. You thought that was Mum's job and that you could fuck off up the village council." He screamed, "Shut up, you wench," and stumbled toward her while clenching his fist. Suddenly, he was in the corner of the room, with all but a few of his chakra points close. He raised his head to witness his daughter reaching out and holding a red ball of energy. Before him, a blue chakra aura enveloped her body. She extended her hand. Her words, "Hiro Tama," were followed by a black and red burst of pure satanic chakra that engulfed Hiyashi. She took Hanabi to the hidden location, smirked at the bloody corpse that was Hiyashi, and then left after washing her clothes' blood and changing into a new outfit that included a purple mesh vest, a black hoodie, the same pants, and black sandals. She also left a note that read, "Greetings. Reader, you are most likely a member of the Hyuga clan. I recently put my sister Hanabi here for protection when Kumo ninjas tried to take the Byakugan away from her. My father tried to stop them, but he was overwhelmed by an extremely strong opponent. I made my getaway and arrived here. I hope my sister is safe, and I'm heading out to locate my team and defend against the invasion." Hinata Hyuga grinning, she walked out of the secret stronghold to locate Kurama. Standing there with his head in his hands on his knees, Sasuke realized that, like his brother, he was prepared to kill a family in order to acquire power. Over the sobbing Uchiha, Kurama stood. Kurama kicked Sasuke into a tree, trapping him inside, but he insisted on saying, "Get a grip," and, "Fine," before anyone realized what had happened. A pair of Jonin materialized and faced him. "Why did you do that? He was about to kill my newly discovered half-brother." "Okay, we're gonna take him to the hospital and take the Suna Nin to interrogation center." "Okay." Kurama nodded as he departed, saying, "And then join up with your team or an Anther Scrad." 2 minutes later, Suna Nin base. The base, or at least most of it, was quiet, but the command center was ablaze with various concessions to their plans. Ibiki saw a 13-year-old boy named Kuramaru Uzumaki, formerly known as Naruto Uzumaki, emerge with red eyes and yellow hair. He was carrying the Gaara of the Sand on his back. He walked over to them and laid Gaara down. "What do you want?" "I want you to heal him," they said, looking shocked. "Why?" Their eyes widened as they said, "Because he's my half-brother." He hesitated, then grinned, "But please can you retreat? I want to have a roof over my head by the end of the day. Anyway, I want you to take care of him. I'm going to go find my team and do something small," he said as he walked away. "The Tri-Headed Snake's location," Orochimaru said to the Hydra. "Like snake, well done. Destroy them all. Everything must burn." The snake spat acid and poison at the shinobi defense as he moved to the south wall, then destroyed it, allowing more ninja to enter than just the interceptors. Gazing up at the sky, Orochimaru exclaimed, "Wait, what's that?" A number of steel spheres rush in his direction, catch fire, and smash into the approaching Nins and the Three-Headed Snake, becoming lodged in the second head's throat. There was a roaring hiss as the blood spattered the ground. Several more stuck their way into the other people's throats and he said, "Fuck, I better leave before things get ugly," before heading toward the Chunin Exams Stadium. Damn, this is bad shit. Chunin Exams Stadium. While he had his monkey pull, Kushina was currently defeating Sarutobi. She would either attack or avoid the blows, and they were typically successful, so that wasn't good. Second, his monkey summons are ineffective because Kushina's snakes could poison them. Third, he was in danger of using that jutsu because his chakra was low. Well then it comes down to this. Well Kushina, I am glad you became a cage before you died. He raised an eyebrow when he was told, actually Lord Orochimaru is the Otokage. A woman with Kushina's level of power must have attained the rank of cage by now, regardless, and he added, and second, I'm not dying here today. Oh really, dead demon consuming seal. The Shinigami materialized out of nowhere behind him, whispering and chanting inaudibly as beads were thrown around his left arm. Take this. The arm through Sarutobi's stomach, and he raced in Kushina's direction. As he leapt in front of Kushina, Orochimaru yelled, "Watch out!" A hand swung into his stomach and started tearing out his chakra. Kushina exclaimed, "Orochimaru! Sama!" After 15 minutes of struggling, Sarutobi had to cut off his chakra supplies to his arms and die. Dang it, well, at least I'll be able to take him out, he grunted as he pulled the chakra out of his body. When she saw the purple marks spreading across his hands, she stopped asking, Orochimaru. Sama, are you all re? Kushina. Chan, we need to retreat with me injured and your chakra exhaustion. We're doomed. Though the cage is alright, his forces are being slaughtered, so are Nin's. But I haven't found Kuramaru. We need to go. The sound force shield is weakening and their chakra is draining. We need to go. But she was on the verge of tears, but she nodded as this shithole village once again took her away from her son. What the point of staying? If we die, then Kurama will surely be orphaned. Look, once I find Tsunade and convince her to heal my arms, I'm sure with them we can crush them and find your son. After 2 days had passed since the invasion, but something was amiss. Sarutobi had passed away, but Kurama was devastated and didn't seem to care. He didn't feel sorry for the old fart at all because he believed that the old bastard had not told him who his parents were, whether his clan still existed, or even that there was a clan at all. After eliminating the truth, suppressing Sarutobi, Kurama made the decision to discover the whereabouts of Kushina's mother. The fact that the woman claimed to be his mother kept repeating in his mind. He started by searching through old records and soon discovered a family tree of the Uzumaki. At the top was a woman with red hair and a man who was silver gray in color. They had 2 sons and a daughter, and the name of the girl was Mito, while the sons wore Senji and Ganta. This Mito woman had 4 sons and 2 daughters, one of whom had a son and another daughter. Her daughter was named Hosenka, and she had an only daughter named Mito, after her grandmother. The other 2 sons had their own families. The Mito fathered 2 sons, one of whom later became the father of Tsunade's Senju. He kept looking at the other son, who he had fathered a couple more children who wore Senju, but one of them married another Uzumaki from the other brothers of the original Mito sons, and that's when he found a woman named Kushina Uzumaki. The picture next to her suggested that a husband and son were wearing a classified mark in black ink, and it stated that the child was raised in a ninja village called Uzushiogakure before being brought to Konoha. However, Kurama continued to smirk since he now knew his mother's true appearance from the flashback his dad gave him. Her clothes were blurry, but he could see what she looked like now. He later made the decision to visit Hinata. When Hinata saw Kurama coming toward her house, she smiled at him and rushed to embrace him tightly. As he gave her a hug in return, Kurama said, "Hey there, Hinata." They had grown quite used to it. In fact, the Konoha girls had been chatting about them as a couple for the past few days, which surprised them. "Oh Kuramaru-kun," she said, giving her a tighter hug. When she looked up at him this time, he paused and said, "Hey, what's the matter? It's not because of your dad, is it?" he said. "So then you did it," she nodded. "Well done, my little Hina. Chan," and he nuzzled her hair with his nose while she rubbed her face deeper into his chest. "Thank you, Kuramaru-kun, you've made me stronger now that I've killed my father. Now I can finally protect you." He grinned in return, saying, "And I will protect you." Otogakure. Ah. Orochimaru cried out in agony while Kabuto attempted to manipulate his arms. "Dang it, Orochimaru. Sama," said Kushina, who was so distraught by it that she was unable to see her sons. Unable to fix his hands, Kabuto said, "The only thing I can do, Lord Orochimaru, is find someone better." "I've got it," Kushina declared. "What?" Kabuto asked. "I'll ask Tsunade, but before you say what the hell are you on, I am going to talk to her first. She used to be my leader on my squad and I am related to her, so she'll be more inclined. We can use the resurrection jutsu to persuade her," leading Orochimaru to give a nod. The Konoha Anko declared, "We have mission Kurama." "Really, what is it? I am looking forward to learning some news jutsu on the way, hopefully." "Well, the council has decided to find Tsunade Senji as part of the mission to find the next Hokage." Kurama's eyes widened. Perhaps he could ask her about his mother, but he was eager to find this woman anyhow. "Anyway, I want to teach you a new technique. It's called the cage blade." "Cool, what does it do?" "Watch and learn, kiddo." She held out her hand and started to spin the chakra around it more quickly until it was traveling at 900 miles per minute. Just barely visible, the revolving chakra stemmed a dagger made of chakra that protruded from the front. She then pulled back and fired a chakra missile in the direction of a tree, and the explosion ate up 8 trees. "I can do more powerful technique than that." "I know you can, but this is Swiss Army knives of techniques. You can place you infinite on it, increase you chakra storage and control. You can learn more jutsu similar to it faster and increase chakra circulation, and you can learn the upgraded forms which include snake's skin, Gakido and ultimate velocity forms," replied Anko. "Sickage," Kurama said. "Anyway, we better go find this Tsunade woman, the one they want." As they started to leave the gates, Kurama said, "Sure, but Hinata came to see them off." "Hey Kurama-kun." When Anko realized they were wearing in love, she didn't hesitate to say, "Hello there Hina-chan. Well, I just wanted to say goodbye and wish you luck." "Thanks," was said, and then he felt her kiss his cheek, which made him flush, and Anko was about to laugh at Kurama's red face. They quickly left, not realizing that they would miss Nin the next time they were back. 2 days had passed since they began their search for Tsunade when they learned of a woman known as the legendary Sucker. She followed the casinos from town to town, and some people claimed that she was accompanied by a woman who was frequently seen in black with a pig. This also matched the description of a woman named Shizune, who was allegedly Tsunade's former lover's niece or something. Kuramaru, formerly known as Naruto Uzumaki, and Anko Midarashi, his sensei, were searching for her on the Konoha Council's orders, but while they were searching, a snake-like darkness planned on finding the same woman. "Uck!" Kurama screamed. "What is Kurama?" Anko inquired. "I've completed the first stage of this velocity jutsu, but the second stage is really challenging. I'm having trouble keeping the chakra moving and solidifying it into a dagger." "Try thinking about keeping it spinning while tightening the chakra," she said. "Hey Kurama," through Kurama, "Yeah, what is it pops? Allow me to help with me inside. If you allow me access to your chakra, I could circulate the chakra for you while you create the dagger." "I guess so. How do I give you control? Just let me worry about that." "Okay. Now try it again." Kurama nodded and started to tighten and rotate the chakra, but all of a sudden it started to move only in one direction rather than the 2 directions he had been moving it. The 9 Tails shrugged and said, "Oh, I see, but you could have told me." "Hey, you got it." "Yeah, I just thought that my chakra was causing friction, so I made it go one way only." "Finally here, the 3rd stage, you need to fire it." She stopped. "But we in middle of a city, so once we hit the road I teach you that bit." "Okay." Kurama grinned. "In the meantime, in a place called Ginger Town, yes, I stole this from DBZ, but it's not a crossover. An individual snake named Sanin started looking for the slug princess of Konoha. He had a blazing hot trail so far, and he was pursuing her very closely, so close that she was just around the corner. "Hello Tsunade-chan," he said to the slug Sanin, causing her hands to curl up in anger, but when she turned around, her anger subsided. 3 people were standing behind her, including Orochimaru, a silver-haired boy with round glasses, and a woman wearing a hat that looked like it belonged to an Akatsuki member, covering her face. However, she couldn't help but notice that the woman was an indirect relative of hers, as she was wearing nearly identical outfits, with the exception that one wore a red coat with the Uzumaki clan symbol on the back and left sleeve, black pants, and a gray kimono. Like top, and a Konoha headband on her right arm that had a scratch across it. Orochimaru, what is it that you want? Orochimaru teased Okukuku, saying, come now, Tsunade. All I need is from you to heal my arms. Why ought I to assist you? Tsunade's eyes widened as she said, because I can bring those you lost back. You mean Nawaki, Dan and Kushina? No, not Kushina. Why? Because she's not dead. The woman standing next to Orochimaru took off her hat, and before Tsunade was Kushina. She didn't look like the person she usually was, though, because her skin was paler and almost as white as Orochimaru's. To Tsunade's surprise, and Jiraiya's delight, she had boobs the size of Tsunade's. You can't be here, you died. Sarutobi told me you disappeared. Everyone expected you to be dead from the release of the Kyuubi. To Tsunade's surprise, she said icily, tell me Tsunade, where you in it? What are you in on? Causing her to gaze up icily. Tsunade looked shocked, and at the thought, Shizune fell on her ass. The separation between me and the Kyuubi in order for my husband to gain access to its chakra in my husband's secret attempt to control the Kyuubi and make my son a member of Root, appeared on her face. No, you let me be his godmother before he was born. The issue was that Jiraiya had stated he would adopt him once he completed a case. When I asked the old fart if I could adopt him, he was looking at, but the damn bastard never got around to it because he felt his work was more important. With a hint of snarl in her voice, she addressed Sarutobi. The old windbag said no. Interesting, think about my offer. If you come to Otto with us and heal my arms, I will resurrect the two you love and you can live with them with Kushina for the rest of your days in Otto. Think about my offer, he said while shushing Kabuto, Kushina. Okay, we're out of the town and on our way to Ginger Town. Kurama cut in, so can I learn how to fire it? Anko slapped him across the back of his head and said, damn it, I was just about to get to that. Anyway, he began as she brushed the dirt off her lap. What you have to do is charge the circulation at the top of your arm and quickly impulse it to the tip of the circulation, she said. Kurama nodded and continued the training until they reached the next town where, unbeknownst to him, his mother would unintentionally reunite. The impulse will fire and push the blade towards your target, but you cannot fire it and use this jutsu as a Chidori-like attack. See what I mean when I say this jutsu is a Swiss Army knives? You can't be serious, Tsunade. Sama, said Shizune, it's total disrespect to Nawaki and Dan. Simply stop talking. Shizune was about to say, don't lie to me, you wouldn't, when she paused. Think about it, she said, sobbing, if you could see them again, what would you do? Shizune's face dropped to the ground as she watched Tsunade depart through the door of their in-room, realizing she was correct. It's because I have the choice is the reason you're telling me not to. The high street in Ginger Town. Kurama said, come on, Anko. Sensei, let's go get some ramen. You know we didn't come here to eat ramen, replied the frustrated Anko. And what have you got in your bag that you bought from that stool? Red hair dye. Why? Anko splurted. Because I found out my mom had red hair, so I decided to give this a go. Interesting enough, said she. How do you know I thought you were an orphan? I snuck into the Hokage's office, found a family tree and saw it. Oh yeah, and who your mom? Kushina Uzumaki. Anko immediately landed on her ass and asked, are you okay? No. My old sensei was your mother, but it thought Orochimaru was you old sensei. Well, he left when I was around 13, so I needed a replacement and that ended up being your mother. Oh wow, can you tell me what kind of ninja was she? Even though she was roughly 10 years older than you, she was very brattish, just like you. She was a sword master with the best kenjutsu and fuinjutsu in the village, and she always concluded her sentences with, ya no. She told me that she was formerly known as the Red Hot Habanero, but was later dubbed the Uzumaki Devil when she was younger. We are very close, and when her husband was unable to teach her how to perform the Rasengan, she taught me how to use the Shadow Blade. Ironically, even if you were the fourth Hokage, her husband couldn't perform her jutsu, so she chose to make the Shadow Blade. She paused and glanced at Kurama, expecting a startled expression, but he simply shrugged. Hey, aren't you surprised the fourth Hokage is your dad? Oh, I always knew he was my biological father. Biological? She asked. After getting up and regaining her balance, she said, I kind of maybe got adopted by the Nine Tails, which caused her to fall on her ass once more. What? She shouted, hey, it's not my fault, my dad sealed the Nine Tails in me. So you're telling me that the demonic force that nearly destroyed our village has adopted you? He nodded, cool, 13 years ago. Wait, you won't lose your mind, will you? She was suddenly hugged and told, I can't blame you for something that isn't your fault. What are you doing? She yelled as she fell, but for the third time. After letting go, He looked up at her and remarked, "You're the first adult I've met that thinks that I'm not a demon." "Well thanks, but first never do that again. I am your sensei, not your mum," he replied. Second, she wrapped her arms around him. "If anything I am your big sis, okay?" He grinned at the purple-haired kunoichi, who grinned back. "I guess I have a family now, a highly bizarre and dysfunctional family, but at least I have one," he said. Anko patted her stomach and said, "Well, let's go in here for a bite to eat. I need some dango." The bratish Kurama added, "And I'll have some ramen." As they walked into the bar, she said, "Calm down." "Hey, is that her?" "Pardon," Kurama said. "Look over there," indicating the blonde slug princess sitting next to a black-clad woman who was staring at the blonde with a distressed expression. Sake was half drunk at the time. "Yeah, it is," she said, approaching the woman's desk and taking a seat in front of them, leaving the two women staring at the purple-haired woman in confusion. "Who are you?" "Anko Mitarashi. I've been asked by the Konoha Council to find you and ask if you wish to." Tsunade interrupted, saying, "No way. I'm not going back that damn village." "Why? It's too painful to be there, brings up too many memories." "I see. Hi, Anko. Sensei?" As Anko rose to the seat, Kurama called for his attention. "Yeah." Tsunade freezes when he asks, "Why is this lady gonna be Hokage anyway?" "You see, this woman is a very talented medic and at ninjutsu. She's one of the 3 legendary Sannin, the most powerful ninja in Konoha other than the Hokage," she said, looking anxiously at Tsunade before turning back to Kurama. Unconvinced of her abilities, Kurama remarked, "Really, I could probably beat her." The reaction she received when she said, "Come on you little brat, I'll fight right now outside, come on," was unexpected. Kurama remarked, almost as if it were a chore, "Why aren't you wasting my time? I've already beaten Orochimaru like a pulp." "What did you do?" all 3 of them exclaimed. "Remember Anko when I said that Hinata was bitten and got the curse seal from Orochimaru? After that I kicked his ass and made him retreat." "Well, I don't care, the snake bastard was always a challenge for me, but I've improved. I can beat a brat like you," replied Tsunade. Tsunade stood in front of a rather smug Kurama, who started to circulate the chakra in his right arm, causing a blue Chidori-like jutsu to appear in his hand. "Can you really? Fine then, let's go," he said as he left, the two facing each other down. "Why did you teach him to use the shadow blade so early in life?" As he launched the blue chakra missile at the slug princess, Kurama yelled, "Take this." "Holy shit, dang it, earth style. Earth wall shield," she screamed, erecting an earth wall to deflect the attack. The slug Sannin was knocked back a good couple of meters, even though the explosion was the only reason it broke. "Ha ha, take that," yelled Kurama as Anko and Shizune were in awe of the strength he was displaying. "You brat, damn it," she said as she stood up. Kurama said, "Need a hand?" "Why should I need help getting up?" He grinned and said, "Well, I was just being polite." "Jesus kid, you're only Chunin." "Well, first, why would you think I am a Chunin? Because I am not. Suna attacked the village and killed the old fart during the exams, so I wasn't able to compete. Well, I did, but I didn't get promoted," Kurama quickly rambled. He nodded, "So you're Genin and you beat me. The old fart's dead. Suna attacked Konoha. Interesting." She paused, then asked, "Say, what's your name?" "Kurama Uzumaki. Namikaze," was his reply, causing her to fall on your ass. "You're your Kushina's son." "Yeah, so, look kid, this is really serious." She stopped and said, "Your mother is alive." "She is." Anko and Kurama both let out a gasp. She suddenly stated, however, "She is working with Orochimaru." "What?" Anko gasped as Kurama stood motionless, memories of Q Uzumaki flashing into his mind. Orochimaru's hint about the family tree's appearance from Q and Kushina made him connect the dots and realize his mother was still alive. Anko knew what he was talking about, and after calming the young Uzumaki, she explained what he meant to Tsunade. At that moment, she decided to assist Orochimaru so that Kurama could meet his mother. "Yes, it must be," Orochimaru said, "so I didn't believe it, but then that Q woman attacked, she looked like her and said she was my mum, and the family tree and the stumbled to make sense." The valley in Ginger Town the following day. On one side, Orochimaru and Kushina were standing, while on the other, Tsunade and Shizune had both called forth their summons. "So then Tsunade-chan, have you decided whether or not you real heal my arms?" She paused before saying, "Yes, I have chosen," which caused Orochimaru to smile. Well, Tsunade, the slug princess, has joined with the rouge snake Kukuku. "I am not doing this for you, I am doing this for Kurama. I know who his mother is and I want to reunite him with his mother." Kushina pleaded, "You know where Kurama is, take me to him please." "Follow me, Tsunade." Sama, please stop this. Shizune was shocked, but relieved that her uncle's memory wouldn't be tarnished. You hear that, Orochimaru? He nodded. I don't even want Dan and Nawaki back. It would hurt too much if they were brought back. All I want to do is bring Kushina and her son together. The Rosario Hotel. The exhausted Kurama said to Anko, who was munching on microwave dango. Hey, where is Ba, Chan and Shizune? She gulped the food after saying, they said they, chomp chomp, going, nom, to fight Orochimaru. What? Kurama shouted as he hurried out the door. She screamed, wait Kurama, get back here, but by the time she reached her seat, he had already left. But as he hurried to the valley outside of Ginger Town, he could tell because, well, it wasn't difficult to spot a giant slug and snake, not to mention all the talk. What the hell, she could at least tell me she was going to fight Orochimaru. I've PWNED him once, and I'll kick his ass again. The valley. When Kurama arrived, the four turned to him and he yelled, what the hell are you guys doing? What are you doing, Kuramamaru? Questioned Manda. The words, wait, you knee where, my son was the whole time, were uttered by Kushina. Yes, but you didn't summon me, and don't say you did during the invasion, because neither of you did. Kabuto did, and even then it outside the village so he could get better view of the battlefield, said the huge snake. When Kurama asked the woman who had spoken to Manda, wait, is that you, mum? Kushina's eyes widened at once, and she jumped up and embraced Kurama. She began to cry as she said, I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. I know what kind of pain the village did to you. I've missed you so much. You do? The statement, well, I was the host of the Nine Tails, caused Kurama to topple over. I totally forgot about that, but mum, how did you survive? Well, she said, placing a finger on Kurama's forehead and explaining the situation. So then Orochimaru took you in and made you really powerful kunoichi after Konoha betrayed you. She replied. And you plan on taking me to Oto? She repeated her nod. Kurama looked up with wide eyes and said, I'm going to assume you want to be with Hinata. How did you know? Kurama's eyes narrowed as he recalled all the times he and Iruka had eaten at the ramen store before he attempted to kill him. Well, I also searched for happy memories, and all I could find were memories of Hinata and, she said, stopping, Iruka. It's okay, I have a plan to communicate with her and several other ninjas from that village and bring them to Oto, but to do that I need your help. Who are they? Hinata, Hyuga, Haku, a boy named Ivigo, and a girl named Hosenka. Although their Keke Genkai are valuable to our village and will give us an advantage, they have all experienced emotional trauma, and we wish to assist them in overcoming that. Additionally, I want to take you to a place where the people will love you and not hate you. Oto is that place. The village is big and is becoming more powerful every day, even after our failed invasion. Furthermore, I'm in line to become Otokage, so I'm already feared outside of the village and known as the Blood Flash. A flash of blood? You wear the Uzumaki demon, right? Well, it had to be changed for undercover reasons. I see. Hey, the recently arrived Anko yelled. As Kushina, Kurama, and Kurama said, what's going on, huh? She stopped, Kushina, and gasped as she began to approach her slowly before accelerating. Why did you fight me during the exams? I couldn't handle it after you disappeared. I kept it to myself, but it hurt. I saw you like a mother. Why didn't you come back to the village? Why did you disappear? She screamed at Kushina as she stood in front of them. Konoha wanted to use my son as a root-nin, and it's not like I had a choice. If I went back, they would kill me or Kurama, and I didn't want to risk it. Orochimaru had friends who would stop them from doing that. Anko's eyes were full of rage. She was so angry that she tightened her grip until blood was dripping out of her hand because her nails were digging into her own flesh. Kurama said, Whoa, Anko. Sensei, please calm down. I can't believe that the village would do something like this, separate a mother and a child so they could try and turn the child into a solitaire. I mean, something like that, it's not even human, replied the snake mistress. Well, my mother and I are going to Oto, but what will we do? Despite her doubts, she insisted that she could come with us if she wanted. Fine, I don't want to live in a village that will separate a mother from her child, it's disgusting, replied Anko. How is Tsunade doing? Kurama inquired. I am coming to heal Orochimaru's arms. I couldn't care less for that village, too many bad memories, and I just want to find a home that won't hurt my memories, she said before turning to Shizune. As long as Dan and Nawaki's memories aren't tainted by Orochimaru's jutsu, I will follow Tsunade, she stated. After that, they departed, leaving only Anko and Kurama to go back to the village for their own mission. Otobakure, Kurama, Kushina, Orochimaru, Anko, and Tsunade were walking through a forest when they reached a huge gate with 2 kanji written on it that said, Sound Village. As the gates opened, the village was revealed, with large buildings that resembled metropolises scattered throughout. Most of the buildings were similar to those in Konoha, but you were more likely to see purple than orange. Kurama was thrilled to have switched his orange outfit for a black Chunin vest and shirt with cameo green pants, and he had dyed his hair red so he would resemble an Uzumaki more than a Namikaze. They entered a large building. It was like the cage offices in Konoha, except you guessed it, the building was painted purple. The five entered Orochimaru's office, which in the middle had a desk and a chair. There were documents, scrolls, jars of liquids, each being a different color such as blue, red, yellow, orange, green, purple and a much more puke green. A large jar with a snake in some sort of liquid, various kunai and other sharpened weapons including shuriken, knives, daggers and a katana that was laid on its side against the table. The room had a second desk which had jars of other snakes including pythons, vipers and cobras, were all placed in the jars. Each type were placed in a jar with the same liquid and were mutating into some sort of shark-like snake as gills and bone-like horns were growing out of the shedding skin. On the table were scrolls for Uzumaki clan Fuinjutsu, and there was many different documents and experiment plans on the table along with plans for a follow-up invasion in 3 years' time. Kurama inquired, "So this is the Otokage's office?" "Yes, it is. I help Orochimaru when I am not on missions." "Cool." They all sat down as Orochimaru, using iron thread in his teeth, slung 3 chairs into the center of the room and said, "Anyway, now that you are here, I wish to place you in respective roles. First, Tsunade, I wish that you heal my arms. I know that you do not wish for me to resurrect Dan and Nawaki because it would be a taint on the memory, is that correct?" She nodded. "Okay, then after you heal my arms, I wish for you to become a doctor at the hospital," he said in a slimy tone. "All right," she said. "Now then Kurama, I wish for you to be placed in a ninja squad. However, there are no other ninja available to be placed in this squad, so I plan for you with the help of the Sound 4 to infiltrate Konoha and bring Hinata, Haku, Ichigo and Hosenka to her village." A dark grin spread across Kurama's face as he grinned. "However, we'll note that when this team is formed, your mother will be squad leader. Also, you will be paired with Hinata and Hosenka. Finally, I will note we have a..." He stopped. "Well, I would call it a gift, but that sounds too sinister with my tone of voice, so I shall dub it a reward for your skills." Kurama inquired, "What is it?" "Kushina will explain later. Anyway, Anko, I know you and Kurama have sibling-like relationships, so I hope that you will encourage him and teach him new abilities. Also, I have something for you as well. I will give it to you after Tsunade has left and Kurama and Kushina have left," she replied. A subterranean room beneath the cage building. The young Uzumaki said, "Mom, what's going on and why have you brought me here?" When she opened the door, she said, "Trust me, Kurama-kun, it will be worth it." The room was clinical white, which was odd because the hallway was cobblestone. There was a cabinet with a glass display inside, and she took out 3 of the different containers with labels. He nodded and lay on the table as she used a brush to remove a purplish black ink and a true circle around the existing seal, along with 4 kanji for rebirth, power, destruction, and jubi. The ink quickly dried, and Kushina then took out a needle and injected it into his body through his arm. Purple chakra began to radiate from his body, causing his skin to flake off but be renewed by the purple chakra, and his eyes rolled into his head. The mindscape of Kurama the Kyuubi screamed, "What is Kushina doing to us?" as its fur turned purple and his eyes turned from red to golden. "It can't take it anymore," he said, before roaring viciously as all of his fur turned purple and he landed on his hind legs before slamming down, covering Kurama, who had just watched, with a tidal wave of blood. He sputtered, "Cough. What the fuck?" Cough, as he emerged from the sea of blood and turned to face the new Kyuubi, who now had yellow eyes and purple fur. The voice booming, "Hello there, Kit. What's happened to you?" "I don't know, but the chakra I am feeling, this isn't my normal chakra, this is the Jubi's chakra." "You mean the 10 tails?" he replied. "What the fuck, whatever Mum has done to me. Kushina is alive. Wait. He cut me off." Yeah, turns out Orochimaru the Snake Sanin was in area and was having an exchange with Danzo for information. He needed to get her out the way so he could try, keyword her being try, and get me into route. "What an asshole," he shouted. "Oh well, I'm going to kill Danzo." He began to relax, saying, "I guess you've joined Otto, but what about the Hyuga girl?" "We plan on taking her and Haku as well as a kid called Ichigo and a girl called Hosenka to the village." As Kurama woke up, the adoptive father said, "Interesting, but I have said my seal has disappeared from your body, probably cancelled out by the new purple chakra." He paused, then continued, "Anyway, I felt that you're waking up by my son." The Otokage office's lab. Kurama questioned, "What did you do to me?" "I injected you with the chakra-enhanced blood of the Jubi itself." "What? How did you accomplish that?" "I extracted minuscule amounts of chakra from the seal itself or from the sealing site in all of the tailed beasts." After that, I combined them in a ritual to create a tiny creature that resembled a jubi. I secured it with my chakra chains and then extracted its blood, which its chakra destroyed. After experiments, it was found that it could be used to create a curse seal. Then, she explained, it was possible to transform the tailed beasts so that they could produce their own chakra and use the curse seal to suppress the negative effects of the chakra, which would otherwise permanently transform the host into a demon-like creature. Fortunately, once the seal is created, it becomes available to be temporarily active. Kushina looked perplexed as he said, I guess that's cool, so now Dad has the Jubi chakra and is as powerful. What does Dad mean to you? He glanced at the ground before looking up, saying, anyway, he had seal on me, it disappeared. The Kyubi was adopted and trained during the time you were gone after a guy the first used to know tried to assassinate me. In any case, I'm pleased to report that the upgrade has 4 main advantages. The first is the ability to switch into a Biju chakra mode and gain total control over the tailed beast chakra. The second is the curse seal, which, when activated, will boost your vitality and chakra reserves and enable you to absorb the resources required for sage mode and other senjutsu. It has a failsafe to prevent you from absorbing too much, but keep in mind that you are totally incapable of using your Biju powers while in the curse seal form. The third is your newfound ability to call forth the Kyubi himself, or at least the part you possess within him. The drawback is that you won't be able to call forth him if I have my half of the Kyubi active in the surroundings because the call will, in a sense, already be active. The fourth and most intriguing of his new dojutsu is the Rinnegan, which she paused to use, causing Kurama to fall on his ass. Out of all the amazing skills he had acquired, that one was the most impressive. You mean the Eye of the Sage of the Six Paths, the god of the shinobi, the first ninja, creator of the Biju, savior of her world, the grandfather of Senju and Uchiha clans and the host of the Ten Tails itself. Yep, she said blatantly, well, to tell the truth. Since there is a rift between the Uchiha and the Senju, you can already obtain it without the Biju chakra because that is the Kekkei Genkei. As I mentioned earlier, the Uzumaki clan has a dojutsu called Kekkei Genkei, which is the Rinnegan. Their clan was founded by a couple from the Uchiha and Senju who were tired of their clans fighting and decided to settle in Uzushio. They were unaware that, as members of the two clans, they would have children who could perform the Rinnegan because the children's attire would be directly associated with the Senju and Uchiha clans and would be passed on to their offspring. The couple had 5 children, all of whom had Rinnegan. 2 of them married Uchiha, and the other 2 married Senju clan members who were distant enough to engage in incest, but whose offspring also had Rinnegan. Eventually, those offspring had relationships with both Uzumaki clan members. Kurama frowned and interrupted, saying, gross. Anyway, because of this the Rinnegan became strong enough in the clan genes. Even children of an Uzumaki and a member of any other clan were able to have 50-50 rate of getting the Rinnegan. However, because you have the Jubi chakra now inside of you, it is instantly awakened. He seemed to know what he was talking about when he said, wow, that's just fantastic. So now I can use the 6 paths including the Diva path, Human path, Preta path, Outer path, Animal path, Naraka path, and Asura path. Yeah, she said uneasily. Concerned, he replied, what's the matter? It's just that you know so much. Well, actually I have a fascination with the legends of the Sage of 6 Paths and now I've discovered I am a member of his family. Kami, I am really lucky. Interesting. That's so awesome, Kushina said, smiling as she closed her eyes and opened them again to reveal her Rinnegan. Anyway, you said I would unlock it anyway, does that mean you have it too? You know, Kurama's eyes turned purple all of a sudden, and the rings began to shoot out of them until his entire eyeball was covered in purple rings. She then fell on her ass and said, holy shit, you already have the Rinnegan. Already? Usually the transformation takes around 2 years to fully develop, but you went straight to stage 4. Let me see your back. Kurama turned around revealing a seal consisting of 5 tomoe in hexagram. Like fashion. You have the curse mark as well. Try and draw from the Kyubi chakra. He did so, but when he did his body became engulfed with an aura of purple chakra and he created a cloak of purple chakra. His fox feature grew more noticeable and his eyes became slited. Shifting out of his Rinnegan mode, he looked like the Biju chakra mode except it was purple and white instead of orange and yellow. Holy shit, son. She paused, then she put her hand on his shoulder. I knew you were gonna be strong, but now I know for a fact that you're gonna be a truly powerful ninja that is worth the name of Uzumaki and the 9-tailed Biju, but most importantly you're my son. She hugged him. And I am proud to call you son and have the title of mother to you. She hugged her close. I am sorry I wasn't able to mother you or raise you. As Kushina rubbed her son's hair, she said, it's okay, Mum. It's the village's fault, not yours, and when I get stronger, I'm going to burn it to the ground. Attaboy. Kurama grinned, almost as he had before the incident in Iruka. High Street in Konoha. It had been chaos in the last month for the Hyuga clan. Suddenly they were without a clan head, and Hinata was too young to be one, as she was only 13 and 16 was the age a clan head could be appointed. The only one that could be clan head now was either Hinata's mother, but she was deceased, or possibly Neji's mother, but that was unlikely thanks to the elders and their beliefs of the cursed mark. At the moment the Hyuga clan was going insane, with no Hokage to settle the dispute. The main and secondary branch were beginning to mount tension. Not like Hinata cared. She was the one who killed her own father, while Hanabi was fraught with grief. Hinata continued to train and kept on disappearing into the forest to train away from the village. Hinata and Haku had become good friends and discovered that they both had water affinities. Hinata also discovered she had an earth affinity, allowing her to use mud release. She theorized that affinities have something to do with clans, as she knew that her clan were known for their water jutsu. While the earth must have come from her new aggressive personality, which nobody failed to not notice. Everybody was worried for once about the clan heiress, but not because they were generally concerned, of course. It was in reality because they were worried that they could no longer sway her in their favor. However, the most disgusting thing, the Hyuga resorted to his Gekuranai to be temporal sensei so they could pay her to use genjutsu to make Hinata forget about Kurama. The problem was she was unaffected by the jutsu. Hinata was getting more and more angrier at the village because the village believed him to be dead. It had been a month since he had left and never returned with Anko. As Hinata made her way to the ramen shop, she thought, "I'll show them Kuramaru-kun is still alive." Ironically, she had grown to enjoy the items ever since Kurama had brought her there, primarily red miso ramen with extra Naruto maki, an ingredient used in ramen dishes, even though Naruto was no longer his real name. When Ayame said, "Hey there, Hinata," Hinata sat down and said, "Hey Ayama." After 2 or 3 minutes, Ayame came with Hinata's food. After Hinata finished 2 bowls, she set down a bag of Ryo coins and departed. "The usual?" Hinata nodded. "1 red miso ramen with extra Naruto maki coming up," she texted to her father. As she came home, her final thought was, "Kuramaru-kun, I will find you." The Hyuga estate. She looked at a framed picture of herself and Kurama taken right before the trip to the land of waves, and another of Kurama recuperating in the hospital after she got home from the high street. The Hyuga hair was sitting on her bed. The labs of Otogakure, Orochimaru and Anko were walking down a pathway when they came to a room, where she sat on a chair and acknowledged that this was different from the other lab. At least there was no scream that could be heard. Orochimaru went to a table, but before he could begin with Anko, he used his fingers to slide open a seal on the wall that vanished. The Hyuga estate. As the seal moved to her right arm and replaced itself under the shoulder, Hinata started to feel an amazing burning sensation coming from the back of her neck. When she tried to heal it, the burning got worse, and she started to scream in agony. After the seal was finished, it started to change, becoming a kanji for love with a circle around it that was divided into 4 parts and covered in a black swirl that was nearly identical to the Uzumaki clan symbol. "I knew you were alive, Kuramaru-kun," she said in a whisper as she examined her new seal, which bore a striking resemblance to the Uzumaki clan symbol. She started to leave for training because she didn't want to spend too much time at the estate, and as she did, Hanabi emerged. The second Hyuga heiress said, "Fight me." "No," was Hinata's direct response as she attempted to move past. She said, "Fight me," to get what she wanted. "Fuck it," thought Hinata. "Fine," and they both went down to Juken, whereupon Hanabi was knocked unconscious. Ground 7 for training. Hinata was asked to fight me by Sasuke. "No," was her direct response once more as she attempted to get past. "Fight me," he said, obstructing. Sasuke was knocked out, and Hinata was thought to be fine. Ward of Medicine. Otogakure Tsunade was having a hard time with the disgusting ways that they treated illnesses in the Sound Village. Her main issue was that they usually used animal organs and bones and extracted small amounts of ingredients for medicine, but most of the time they wore snakes, of course. In any case, it was not good, and the nurses were surprisingly helpful, and Kabuto, who was an apprentice of Orochimaru, was incredibly helpful. She needed to figure out 4 more important factors, which were why the skin was no longer regenerating, the destruction of flesh, the lack of cartilage, and the fact that they almost seemed to have no chakra in them. She fixed the pain with a complex painkiller that involved numerous chemicals and a follow-up prescription. Area 8 for training. Otogakure. When Kurama was learning how to activate his curse seal, his mother explained that it would not activate on its own. Instead, the user had to wait for the seal to set before learning how to activate it, which is typically accomplished by thinking of something that makes you angry. Otogakure. The labs of Orochimaru. As Orochimaru went through a few things, Anko was sealed inside the box going through the second part of the cursed seal of hatred. He knew that in about 3 minutes, a new Enko would emerge, and soon smoke came from the box as the seal vanished and the planks started to unfold one by one. When the purple-haired woman got up, she had long purple hair that was slightly darker, and her eyes were golden snake-like. Her skin was brown like Tayuya, and her lips had changed so that she appeared to be wearing purple lipstick or something. She also developed bat-like wings, but they were more bone-like in appearance because there was no flesh between them. Think a winged Yoroichi. Anko-chan? At first, his eyes were closed. Yes? With a slightly more sensual tone, she replied as her eyes opened. Don't think this is the beginning of one. Lemons won't be in her for a while. How are you feeling? His voice was, for once, genuinely concerned about one of his subjects. Amazing, though my shoulder still hurts. His hands started to sting, and he abruptly fell to his knees. Probably due to the stress. It should fade in an hour or two, he said. Orochimaru. Sensei, she exclaimed, forgetting to add the final suffix. It's spreading. What on earth it's spreading? He struggled to explain as the pain intensified. My hands, he said, peeking through the bandages to see his purple mark growing up his arms to his horror. Orochimaru. Sensei, we need to get you to Tsunade. Yes, complained Orochimaru, nodding as they departed. Hospital Otogakure. When a nurse entered, Tsunade was still perplexed by his arms, which the old fart had done a great job of fucking up. She was still unable to comprehend what had happened, as if the snake nin's chakra had been severed or something. Tsunade and the other nurse moaned angrily. Apparently the Otokage's case has gotten worse. All right, I'll follow up on the case. Come with me, Shizune and Aki, they said, nodding as they departed. The office of Otokage. She rushed into the office and said, Orochimaru, let me see your arms. Here, Orochimaru extended his arms to display the developing purple splotches. Gosh. Whatever Sarutobi did to you, this is bad and it's getting worse. It's like my chakra and soul are being sapped from my body. Wait, I've got it. Maybe, just maybe what you're saying is right. I wish I could get a person with the Byakugan, then I could check if the chakra network was actually severed. Tsunade gave him a disapproving but understanding look and said, look, I'm not going to do anything dangerous to her. Besides, Kushina told me the girl is Kurama's girlfriend. She nodded, reassured that he wouldn't use her in one of his botched experiments. Well, you see, this was this girl I was looking into, and she had the Byakugan, so I could get a team to retrieve her. Fine, as long as it's fast. Sure, Kushina, get the sound 5. Your son and Kabuto, we're going to retrieve the new sound 5 feet. A new 5 tone sound. While Kushina left to pick up her son, Tsunade nodded slowly, still unsure of her actions. Yes, well, I've planned on getting more extraordinary ninja into the village, and you see the current group have been to an extent failed me on multiple occasions. I'm not going to kill them, but I need more powerful ninja in the village. Not that we have failed to destroy Konoha. In the meantime, Kurama was training in the training ground, upgrading the Shadow Blade with the new purple chakra he obtained from the seal, and learning how to activate it. He was told that his new powers would unlock gradually, and he was able to use the first state and automatically enter Jubi mode. The other abilities, including the other stages of the Rinnegan, would come later. The Rinnegan was divided into 6 stages, and at the moment, he could only use the Diva Path, which allowed him to use Almighty Push, but nothing else. Kurama was practicing when 4 ninjas appeared. A fat ninja with an odd haircut, a woman with long red hair but a tomboyish style, a strange man with 4 extra arm appendages, and a strange man who almost looked like they were merged together. The 4 ninjas watched him practice without much admiration until he chose to use his yokai chakra and enter Jubi mode, which immediately left them shocked because they only knew one person who could call forth the purple yokai energy, and that was Kushina the Red Reaper, also known as Purple Blaze to the Otogakure nins. According to the redhead, what the hell, how can he? The big one said, only Kushina Sama can do that. No fucking shit, Jirobo, you fatty. Tayuya. Shut it. The 4 of them watched as the red-headed Uzumaki heir charged his hand with the purple yokai, creating a missile of some kind out of chakra and yokai, and fired it into the trees in front of him. The first 98 trees were destroyed as it approached them, and then it exploded in a dome of energy that devoured 100 more trees, not including the 22 trees from before. Their jaws dropped in a display of war power that had shot his hands, but then he did it again and again and again and again and again, and by the time he stopped, the forest was nearly as completely destroyed as the Valley of the End, if not worse. The terrified, shitless Tayuya said, Jesus Christ, I fucking hope I never get put on his team. I think I couldn't fucking stand sitting next to a person so fucking powerful. Then she paused and said, fuck. Do you have to swear? Fuck off. You can leave now, the redhead said. Jirobo said, "Fuck." Tayuya was teased, "I thought you didn't like swearing." As they hit the ground, Sakin yelled, "Shut the hell up, the two of you." "Who are you?" the redhead inquired. Pointing to the redhead, "Jirobo, the fatty, 4X, the spider guy. And I am Sakin, and Tayuya. We are the sound for this Tayuya." "Cool," was Kurama's bland response, but all four of them bowed and said, "Kushina." "Sama," when Kushina suddenly appeared. He asked the long-haired redhead, "What's up, mum?" as all four of them fell on their ass. He nodded when she said, "Wait, you're Kushina. Sama's son. Then you're my." She paused, "Half-brother." "Huh, wait, half-brother, what's going on, mum? This isn't the first time I've been called a half-brother, what's going on?" "Hold on, there was a second," Kushina remarked as her eyes widened. "Yeah, during the invasion of Konohagara of the Sand said you were his mother." "Gara," was her wisp. "So what took place?" The other three nodded and hurried away when I said, "Well, the thing is I rather not explain in front of them other than you and half-sister. Look what happened. I infiltrated the sub-village that Suna had there, which was primarily made up of monks who looked after the one-tailed Shukaku. I had intended to advance through their ranks, obtain the seal that kept the tailed beast imprisoned, and depart at night, but destiny had other ideas. I fell in love with a samurai guard there, and after 2 or 3 years, we had Tayuya, who grew up until the age of 3, and then Gara. However, the monks discovered my scheme, and the samurai was also involved, and he was captured and killed. I was so furious that I lost control and destroyed a large portion of the village. After I gained control, I tried to gain the chakra by using the carnage I had created as a distraction, but the village leader came and hurt me while I was hurting myself. The seal opened completely, and I realized that the demon was there. They managed to seal the demon in Gara, but after they separated me from my second son, I left with Tayuya, thinking he was dead because he was so weak at the time, she explained. "So then Gara and Tayuya's father are dead," she replied. The redhead said, "So then you're my half-brother," and the redhead nodded. "So then I guess mum taught you fuck tons of jutsu," she replied. She smiled and said, "Wow kid, I like you already have my potty mouth." Kushina frowned, but she was worried that her daughter might develop a similar habit. "So why are you here in the first place, mum?" "Oh, it's because Orochimaru wanted to retrieve Hinata," Kurama said, and then an unfathomable smile appeared on his face. HB, what's up with Hinata girl?" Tayuya grinned in response to Kurama's remark. "Well, she's my girlfriend." Fortunately, Hinata answered after placing her half-brother in a headlock and massaging his head. The Hyuga estate. The young girl in the Hyuga estate woke up by sneezing, and after blowing her nose, she instantly fell into a depressive state over Kurama. She continued to do D ranks despite her increasing depression, but she became withdrawn and stayed in her bedroom when she wasn't training or doing D ranks. Before long, she would be so depressed that she would cry herself to death. Suna, wearing long black robes with red cloud emblems on them, 2 figures traveled through a desert. One had long blonde hair, resembling a Yamanaka, and the other was a puppet of some kind. They were Akatsuki agents, and Gara Uzumaki was their target. Suna, the adopted son of the 4th Cage, Gara of the Sand, was the prize of 2 figures walking away from the village in the sand. The child had been abducted while he was recuperating from the wounds he had sustained from Sasuke Uchiha. A woman wearing a black cloak with a hood to hide her identity appeared as the 2 cloaked figures prepared to tear the one-tailed tanuki beast from his stomach. She raised a fist and slammed it into the ground. The 2 men managed to avoid the expanding crater, but the woman quickly caught the boy as he fell to the ground after being dropped by the mid-air Deidara and punched him in the stomach. The woman revealed herself to be Kushina Uzumaki, the host of the 9-tailed fox with Jubi chakra. After 2 or 3 minutes, the boy was weakened, but they managed to escape on one of Deidara's clay birds after the woman carefully laid him on the ground and pulled out her sword. After turning to the boy and picking him up, the woman teleported back to Otogakure using a special kunai. Hospital Otogakure in front of him, wearing Kuramaru Uzumaki, Tayuya Uzumaki, and Kushina Uzumaki, Gara unexpectedly woke up from his slumber within a day. The trio gave him a smile. Gara raised an eyebrow when Tayuya said, "Yo, what's up bro?" "Bro, he told me." She began scratching at the back of her head, saying, "Well, Gara was shocked, to put it mildly, after explaining everything, but he was unable to identify any other emotion. He felt sad, happy, angry, rageful, upset, happy, regretful, and happy. In any case, he was unable to comprehend his feelings. Kuramaru remarked, "So then that makes us half-brothers." He inquired, and who are you? He scowled and said, it's me, Kurama. The former blonde nodded at the redhead. Sorry, I didn't recognize you. I guess you ditched that Namikaze blonde and dyed it Uzumaki red. You know you could let blonde appear on the tips that make you look bad. Ass, Tayuya said. Oh yeah, of course, began Kushina. Now that you're an Otogakure nin, we have promoted you to Chunin like your brother and are sending you on a mission to retrieve Hinata Hyuga, Haku Momochi, Hosenka Aburame and Ichigo Gohan from the weakened Konoha with the Sound 5, which includes Tayuya along with Kurama and Kabuto. She clarified. Gaara nodded. Okay, now excuse me, I need to brief the others, she replied. I want to stay, but you're leaving first thing tonight, she stated prior to her departure. The three remained and carried on talking after she left. Kurama asked, so are you going to miss your friends? Gaara immediately tightened his hold on the sheets as a number of memories of being rejected and despised entered his head. His rage and insanity grew, but he gave in when he realized he now had a family. Brother, I think you can think what it was like being a tailed beast host. To put it bluntly, a miserable, hate-filled, lonely existence. Yes, Kurama exclaimed, fucking hell, I wish someone I knew had a good fucking childhood. Tayuya gave the former blonde a devilish smile and said, well, those bastards are gonna pay. Trust me, one day we are going to destroy Konoha. The entrance to Otogakure Orochimaru looked at Kabuto, the Sound 4, Kuramamaru, and Gaara and said, so then this is the team? As they vanished, Kushina nodded and said, very well, now go. The Konoha Hinata was strolling down the street in the direction of the bridge where they typically meet for missions. She knew Kakashi would be late, so she arrived late. When she did, she was informed that they needed to locate Tora once more. Hinata headed home after discovering Tora. She was outperforming everyone's expectations, but she was annoyed by Kurama's behavior. She would stop at nothing to see him again right now. 7 shadowy figures watched her return to the Hyuga estate while standing atop a water tank. Split Up Spider Boy and Fatso find Ichigo, Double Guy and Four Eyes find Haku, Gaara find Hosenkami, and the Uzumaki heir will get his girlfriend, said the Tayuya as they began to spit. The Hyuga family home bellowing her head into the pillows on her bed, the Hyuga heiress sagged onto her bed. Then the window was knocked on, so she went up to it and opened it, wiping the tears from her eyes. After entering her room, a red-headed boy turned around and spoke. Peanut butter and jelly ramen. The girl immediately flowered the boy. Kuramamaru. Kun, she shouted as she embraced him. As they stood up, he said, whoa, hold on there. He turned to face the agitated Hyuga heiress and asked, what's the matter? She pushed him away and said, where were you? You just disappeared on that mission with Anko Sensei to find Tsunade Sama and never came back. I was so worried about you, I thought you might have died. You've been gone for 2 weeks, everyone thought you might have died. Hell, some wished you were. She was upset and about to continue when Kurama grabbed her and gave her a fierce hug. Kuramamaru. Hinata. Chan. The redhead woman abruptly interrupted the moment by saying, yo, what up? Who's she? Hinata inquired. Kurama clarified, she's my half-sister. Wait, so your mum is alive? He replied, holy shit, where is she? Otogakure. Caused her eyes to balloon. But that's where Orochimaru is. I know, he said, letting his Otogakure headband show through his genjutsu. But I thought, I know, but think about it, my mum and my half-siblings live there. I can't give that up, but I can't give you up. All right, I'll accompany you too, she said, but I wasn't finished. I know, but I can't live without you, and if you're gonna live there, then I will live there with you. Besides, it's less likely my sister will have the curse seal put on her if I leave. I see. Well, then grab your things, we leave at midnight, she replied. The mining facility at Konoha. So then this is how we're leaving, through the old mining grounds, said Hinata. Yeah, this is how we got in, but also how Otogakure invaded during the invasion, stated Kurama. Anyway, let's leave quickly, it's not long till my clan will find I haven't returned to the clan estate, stated Hinata. As they departed, they all nodded. All right, Ichigo, Hosenka, and Haku, let's go. Remember that Kimimaro is on the back defense, Fatso is on the right, I'm in front, and Sakin is on the left, Tayuya said. The Hyuga estate. After entering Hinata's bedroom, Hanabi switched on the light. Big sis, she asked as she entered. When she realized she wasn't there, she looked in the living room and the big tree in the estate, 2 of her usual spots. What's the matter, Hanabi? Sama, I can't find big sis. She's usually here about now, after 10 minutes. One shouted, fuck, where is the heiress? Where is Hinata? Sama, yelled another. One person in the fetal position said, shit, fuck, never trust orange juice flavored Robert Downey Jr. It goes without saying that the estate was in a panic. They spoke with the council and sent Anbu and Root Nins to look for her, but they were unsuccessful. Additionally, according to a number of other reports, Orochimaru had known contact with a number of other people during the Forest of Death or preliminary exams for the Chunin exams. The newly promoted Shikamaru was assigned to form a 5-man squad to retrieve her and the other 3 after the council declared that Orochimaru must have abducted them. Shikamaru selected Sasuke, because his Sharingan would be helpful, Choji, because he was skilled, and Kakashi Hatake, because he was a Jonin and could help keep Sasuke under control and summon dogs to track them. He also asked Sakura to accompany them because of her newly developed medical jutsu. At last, Rock Lee was also captured. They are now on their way to pursue the 4 warriors who have been cursed, along with the other 4. Mining establishment. We're out, Kurama uttered. Okay, we need to talk. Look, we need to upgrade your curse seal. By taking one of these pills you will start procedure, however you will temporarily die. Pass them over, said Ichigo, a 12-year-old boy with long black hair, yellow eyes with 4 tomoe in them, and normal features aside from his sharp nose. He was wearing a Chunin vest, a red shirt, and loose fitting pants. I love that song. Me too, Hosenka said. She was a young girl, around 14 years old, and she wore a long, big jacket, a white vest, and cargo jeans. She looked like a miniature Anko, save for her long, raven black hair. Haku simply shrugged, took a pill, and consumed it. The ritual was finished. Tayuya received Hosenka's barrel, Kuramaru received Hinata's, Kimimaru received Ichigo's, and Sakin received Haku's. Then, as Gaara was acclimating to his state 1, they started to move into their forest, where he was unable to move for fear of getting hurt. Half an hour later. Come on, she's this way. There more sense appearing as get closer. One's a girl that smells a bit like Kurama and Gaara. The other a dude that reminds me way too much of spiders. Another is a rather fat person. Another is a guy with 2 scents very alike, hard to tell apart. On about 4 other kids, each smell like they have a Keke Genkai. In fact, one smells like she has an underdeveloped Sharingan. Sasuke's gaze enlarges. That's impossible. Well, never say never, kid. Look, I might be wrong. It's not like I often smell a Sharingan user, is it? He said before stopping. What is it? Sakura inquired. I smell Kuramaru. But I thought he died. I am sure I can smell him. It's different now, though, a smell I never smelled before. Then is that really him? Yes, I am sure his smell remind me of foxes mixed with humans, so I am always sure it's him. Kakashi said, all right, let's go. I really hope he's still alive so I can kill him. An hour later, the 7 of them were moving steadily through the forest deep within it. In case you were unaware, Kimimaru and Gaara are both with them. Suddenly, Kunai emerged from all the wares, but Jirubo dispersed after making a shield out of the earth to keep them safe. Kakashi Hatake, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji were in front of them. The 5 were shocked that the self-proclaimed future 5th Hokage would turn on the village when they saw Kuramaru with them. So it's true you didn't die, replied Sakura, but why are you those with auto nins? Why are you betraying the leaf? Oh Sakura, tell me, are you an orphan? No, she asked, assuming he was crazy because he was already familiar with the answer. His explanation made Sasuke's eyes scowl even more than they already did. Well, imagine if you were and then suddenly you could meet your family. Would you honestly, even if it means leaving everything, not go? He asked. Well, of course I would go. Her eyes widened as she said, well, then you have your answer. Then who are your parents? She asked. Well, if first and foremost, he started laughing. The ironic thing is I am the son of the 4th Hokage, yet here I am betraying the village. They were all shocked. I mean, come on, Kakashi, blonde spiky hair and blue eyes, you have to be dumb to not to notice. I knew, but considering what you are, I have no pity for you. Oh, I'm some demon, he said, laughing. Let's be honest, the Kyuubi didn't turn me into a fucking monster like your village did. He paused, then materialized behind Kakashi, killing him by snapping his neck. Sakura screamed, oh fucking Kami, as Sasuke stood in horror alongside Shikamaru and Choji. Then, to avoid Shikamaru's approaching kunai, Kurama leapt to a tree branch. Jirobo leapt from the tree trunk, hit the ground hard, formed a dome around them, and started sucking the chakra dry. You guys take them and get out of here. I'll take these guys on and eat all their chakra, the fat guy said. As she seized the container on his back, Tayuya exclaimed, fine, you fat piece of shit, come on guys. As they departed, Kurama nodded, sure. In the meantime, Konoha. So then we have chosen the new Hokage. The new Hokage will be the forest. As the cursed marked fatty drained the 4 nin's chakra, Kurama ran through the forest with Sound 5. They struggled to escape inside until Shikamaru realized that the dome chakra was mostly exhausted at the back. With the help of several jutsu and plans, they were able to escape. "What? How did you escape?" Shikamaru said. "Hey, wouldn't you like to know?" "Not like it's gonna do you any good, you're gonna get hammered," said Ji Robo. "Shika, Sasuke, Sakura, Lee, get out of here, I've got this," said Choji. Sakura questioned, "Are you sure?" "Don't worry Sakura, for power of youth will enlighten his past and grant incredible power for those that youthful." Okay," she put in response. "Choji, I am giving you one order." "Well, don't die," Choji smiled comfortingly. "No problem." Then they vanished, leaving Choji to engage Jirubo in combat. "Some friends, they're leaving you to get beaten up like this." "You can call me anything you want, an idiot, stupid," he said. "Fat, but," he said, "don't ever insult my friends." He smiled as he leaned in his direction and said, "Hey, sure thing kiddo, now let me just kick the shit out of you so I can get on my way." "The forest, I know we weren't on the best of terms, but why would Naruto do that?" "Sakura, I know what you're thinking, but what's ever happened to Naruto or Kurama, whatever his name is, it's not good," replied Sasuke. Shikamaru remarked, "Well, it's not exactly like he had a good life anyway." "What are you saying?" He paused and said, "The first time I met him was when." "Well," rewind. Shikamaru and Choji, who are 7 and 6 years old, were leaving their parents' barbecue pork when they heard some kind of muttering coming from the nearby alleyway where their parents were paying the bill. They decided to investigate, and what they saw was Kurama, Naruto, crucified on 2 planks of wood with multiple kunai, knives, and shurikens stuck in his body. He moved his feeble head to look at the two, who were too weak to cry out or even whisper a request for assistance. Shocked, the two fled to their parents. Shikamaru told his mother, "Mom, you have to help this kid who was hurt by these guys in the alleyway." Choji told the 4 of them, "Yeah, there is, follow us." They followed him to the crucified blonde, and when they arrived, some of them were upset for the boy, while others were disturbed that a child would be subjected to such a treatment. "What the hell, God, we have to help him, somebody get a doctor," he said, right, as he vanished and sought medical attention. "This child needs immediate attention, come on, get him to the hospital." The end of the flashback. So yeah, that's what happened afterwards. He was taken to the hospital and treated but kicked out the next day. Shika nodded. "Kami, wait, so he got kicked out the next day?" "It was like that on the night, Itachi," he said, pausing and clenching his teeth. "What's wrong with me?" he asked Sasuke. "Why didn't I see he was in the same pain?" Rock Lee remarked, "That is much unyouthful and awkward." "Yeah," was Shika's response. The 6 of them were running quickly deeper into the forest, and 5 of them had big containers with hosenkas first to start unwinding. They would occasionally hear sizzling sounds coming from the containers, but eventually they would stop. They knew that running quickly wasn't enough, and that if they didn't start, they would eventually catch up to them because they knew that Hirobo's defenses were weak and that Shikamaru was an amazing strategist, according to the intel from Kurama. In the meantime, Otogakure Orochimaru spluttered, cough 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 cough, as he curled up and drank blood. Anko exclaimed, "Orochimaru. Sensei." She paused and muttered, almost to herself, "This is bad, we need them to hear soon or you'll die." Anko repeated the phrase, "Orochimaru. Sensei, Orochimaru. Sensei." "Listen closely both of you, first Anko, take care of Kushina's son. It took her long and hard to become strong enough to get her son back. Tsunade, in the basement of the dungeon, their pool filled with a dark purple liquid, place this elixir in it and you will be given power beyond your wildest dreams. Finally tell Kushina that she is the new Otokage." They were both startled by this. "She is very powerful, and with it she will have access to all my discovered jutsu and an elixir that will be used in a pool of the same substance I told you about." He continued to scoff. "And finally, when Kurama and Hinata are 16, give them an injection of blood which is kept inside my study. It will gift them with many abilities." They both looked at each other. The legendary Sannin had died. Meanwhile, Kidomaru was currently fighting Sasuke using his Sharingan. He was dodging his attack, however Sasuke was losing his stamina. He chose that using the Chidori would use too much chakra, so he decided to use his new fire attack, fire style, Hosenka Inferno. Sasuke went through the hand signs and used the jutsu to fire 6 or 7 streams of red and black fire. The fire created a single beam of fire and blasted it way to Kidomaru, setting him alight. However, while it did significant damage, he had entered his curse seal form, so he was not as injured as he should. He opened his third eye and created his bow and arrow set. He attacked him with multiple arrow and kunai, but nothing managed to hit him. Throw he did cut a couple Of times as his Sharingan was not fully developed, he responded his attacks with several fireballs and kunai. After a while of combat, Kidomaru was weakening, his webs were being roasted, which wasted his chakra, and his arrows were unable to hit him as he had the Sharingan. The fight was a waste of time for the inevitable Kidomaru was losing, unable to stand his ground. It wasn't long before the last Uchiha was able to smoke him out with multiple fireballs, killing him. The Uchiha exclaimed out loud, "What a waste of time." "You prick!" gasped at Kidomaru's charred body. "Whatever," he said as he departed right away, the Kidomaru's skin rotting in the wind and killing him. The other 6 were ambushed in the forest by Sakura, Shikamaru, and Rock Lee. They threw a few kunai, and now Shikamaru was battling Sakin and Udon, who jointly attacked him with a variety of kunai slashing attacks. Udon said, "Brother, you fool, use the seal." "Not yet, brother. It will require too much chakra," Sakin answered. Shikamaru thought, "Seal? That must be something I need to think about. What a drag." "Take this," he said, hurling several kunai at him, but he ducked them. Sakin and Yukon chose to use their curse seal, saying 1, 2, 3 inches to synchronize the transformation, and as they started, a shadow that resembled a dark serpent grabbed hold of them using the shadow possession jutsu. Damn it. As the curse seal expanded over Sakin and Yukon's bodies, giving them the strength to escape, he said out loud, "I got you now, you can't separate what?" Sasuke kept running through the forest until he saw Shikamaru fighting the 2 members of the Sound 5. Now that he knew they were wearing 2 guys, it wouldn't be the Sound 6. Sasuke damaged the attacking one with a ball of flame. "Sasuke?" He looked up and said, "All right?" the Uchiha said. The Nara nodded and said, "Look, I have a plan." As he retreated beside Sasuke, the Nara employed shadow disappearance jutsu to teleport himself to a pre-marked area. This jutsu is said to have inspired one of the 4th Hokage's legendary jutsus because it enables a kunai, or the shadows, to teleport 1 or 2 people to a different location. The 2 brothers eventually located them after some searching. Yukon said, "Got ya?" As he possessed his shadow, he said, "No, I've got you." "Fuck," he muttered, realizing that he had expended too much chakra to escape. Then they continued. Shadow Tendril Barrage Jutsu was used, in which a number of tendrils erupted from the shadows to kill him, and they succeeded. Sakin leapt to use Shikamaru's jutsu, which he could no longer reach, but Sasuke fired a fireball. The increase in light made Shikamaru big enough to use shadow possession, and he was successful in killing Sakin. Kimimaro was being fought by Rock Lee in the meantime. "Guy Sensei, it appears that I will need to use that ability," Rock Lee reflected. Kimimaro muttered, as Rock Lee pulled out a bottle of sake. He uttered the words, "Down the hatch," with a mixture of excitement and fear before he drank the alcoholic beverage. The child was intoxicated in just 4 seconds. "What are you looking at?" "What's that weird bone guy with the, he paused, then giggled like a schoolgirl. "The thing," he whispered, nonsensically, "Hey," and suddenly became aggressive. "What are you looking at?" Rock Lee suddenly rushed at Kimimaro with a punch, but stopped halfway through, did the splits, bounced in the direction of the Kagaya, and then leapt at him backwards. He farted and jumped off after landing on top of Kimimaro's face, which made him throw up, but Rock Lee kicked him in the legs, grabbed one, and slammed him against a tree. The inebriated Rock Lee then proceeded to repeatedly strike Kimimaro's face against the ground before snatching his hand and dancing with the half-asleep Kimimaro. Then, the bone-based Kekkei Genkei user awoke and used his bone sword to cut Rock Lee's shoulder. "Oh wow, you got a pretty white back scratcher, can I borrow?" Large belch. "That?" he said, grabbing the blade of the sword and removing it from Kimimaro's hands. "This back scratcher is completely useless," he said, "you can have it back." He then threw the blade at terminal velocity, severing the snow-white-haired Otogakure Nin's arm. "Ops," was his direct response. "Fuck," cursed Kimimaro, saying, "I have failed you," beaten by drunken Lord Orochimaru, as the blood swelled up before he collapsed and turned to blood. His words, "Ya I win wo," were followed by his knockout by Sasuke, who had witnessed the entire altercation with Shikamaru. "Jesus, I didn't think Lee had it in him." Shikamaru grimly nodded. He didn't, but have you ever heard the saying, "When you're drunk you're a different person"? Then, behind them, Choji landed, and Shika gasped, "Choji." Choji said, "Hey Shikamaru." Sasuke said, "Sup," as they walked away. Sakura was overtaken by the other 4 after an hour. "We're almost there," she said, and Shika nodded before a small valley of grass appeared in the center, with Tayuya, Gaara, Hosenka, Ichigo, and Kurama in the center. Ichigo held the capsule that contained Haku, and Kurama held the capsule that contained Hinata. Kurama turned to face the three, glaring at them scornfully, something they hardly ever saw. The youthful Uzumaki pivoted. "So then the bastards of the village hidden in the leaf have arrived to take my precious Hinata-chan," he said. Given Sakura's reputation for gossiping that could rival Ino's, she couldn't resist asking, "Hinata-chan? What about it?" Kurama shot back. "It's just that you never took an interest in her before." He cleverly countered, "So I can't now," and threw them off once more. Sasuke screamed, "Why are you doing this? Tell me, what is it like being an orphan?" "Awful," was his agitated reply. "And let me ask, what would you do if you could bring it all back?" Sasuke was frozen in place. "That is what Orochimaru is offering me, a life with my mother and siblings." Tayuya and Gaara stepped forward, "No way," and asked, "Siblings?" Gaara questioned, "What's the matter, Sasuke Uchiha?" "Fucking emo piss of where, just doing our mission," said Tayuya. "Tayuya, take the guys and go, I'll take them on." "Okay. I'll take the capsule." Suddenly, it began to smoke, but not enough to open. "Okay, I'll leave her with you." He nodded as they walked away. "Hey, hold on," shouted Shoji. "I'll think I'll start with the fat one." Shoji ran to the redhead and exclaimed, "I'm not fat. I'm chubby." Shoji was immediately hit by multiple bursts of black flames from Kurama's Hosenka shadow flame, which he narrowly avoided. Sakura struck the ground abruptly, destroying a significant portion of it. After the explosion, Kurama leapt over it, made a Rasengan, a technique he learned from his mother, and slammed it into the girl's face, sending her crashing into the ground and leaving a crater. Shikamaru controlled his body with his shadow possession jutsu. Kurama sniggered, which escalated into full-fledged laughter, and then effortlessly broke out of the jutsu without even entering his curse seal state. When Kurama used his curse seal, his body was covered in black markings that resembled foxtails. His skin turned purple, his hair turned white, the seal created scale. Like cracks all over his body, he developed fangs, his eyes turned golden with slits, and finally he developed a pair of wings that resembled hands. They were terrified by the transformation, but they still fired him. Despite this, he was able to use his nearly limitless stamina and regenerative abilities very quickly. Sakura used her strength, Sasuke used fireballs, and Shoji used his expansion jutsu, but nothing seemed to be effective, not even Shika's tendrils could inflict much harm. Shika instructed Sasuke to pursue the others with Sakura, leaving just Shika and Shoji. Rock Lee was momentarily incapacitated to engage in combat with the Uzumaki. The Uzumaki laughed at the heedless folly of reducing their numbers. 4 additional figures appeared out of nowhere. They were dressed in Asura, Ebisu, Guy, and Kurenai, but the Uzumaki remained unfazed. Ebisu began, "Naruto, Kuramaru, pardon?" The Jonin paled, saying, "Kuramaru is my real name. Of course you wouldn't know that when my real father on purposely released the 9-tailed fox from my mother's stomach in hopes of capturing him. However, the procedure had to separate the chakra in half and seal that somewhere else. With disgust, he said, had used dead demon to perform sealing. He died. If you're wondering why he did that, he was planning to supplement his own soul with mine so the Shinigami would not eat his." Needless to say, the Jonin were shocked to learn that the 9-tailed brat was the son of the 4th Hokage, who was now known for causing the 9-tails attack. Ebisu began, "Impossible," with the words, "That's," before Kurama rushed forward and tore out his lungs. Kurenai yelled, "Holy shit," as she saw Ebisu's body struggle to stop the bleeding while the blood sprayed onto everything. He eventually dyed everything with roughly 3 gallons of blood covering his body. All 5 of the Konoha nins are afraid to move. Kurenai was furious and yelled something about Kurama being the 4th Hokage's bastard child as he ran towards her and slashed her throat with a kunai, killing her Asura instantly. Shikamaru attempted to possess Kurama using his possession jutsu, forgetting that it had failed on him previously. Kurama broke it in roughly a quarter of a second. Kurama used a tiger seal after deactivating his curse seal. "Rinnegan!" he shouted as they all gasped at the dojutsu, which was now ringed in purple. He grinned at their astonished expressions. "How the hell?" Asura exclaimed. "Huh," Shikamaru said. "What on earth?" Guy muttered. Rock Lee, who was recuperating from using a drunken fist, asked, "Guy-sensei, what is that?" "That Lee is the Rinnegan, one of the 3 great eye techniques. It is said that long ago a member of the Senju clan and another of the Uchiha formed a clan. It was discovered that Senju DNA and Uchiha DNA mixed together will cause a genetical fluke and give the one with the 2 forms of DNA the Rinnegan. So you are saying, Guy-sensei, that Naruto is a member of that clan?" Yes, Lee, was Guy's reply. Asura answered, but I thought that clan died out centuries ago? Not quite. There was one place the clan survived in. Its name was Uzushiogakure. My mother came to Konoha, but when my biological father tried to kill her she left to Otto. Kurama nodded and then abruptly materialized behind him, using an almighty push. So that's how you have it, he said. Asura! Guy exclaimed, seeing Asura turn into a red liquid. Huh! Suddenly, Kurama's sword had stabbed Guy in the stomach. The tornado then encircled Rock Lee, Shikamaru, and Choji before repeatedly severing them. They attempted to escape by excavating beneath the ground with Rock Lee's strength, but each time they did so, he was sliced. Although it appeared as though Kurama was playing with them, he was actually using the jutsu to escape. It would soon tighten on them and tear them into ribbons. Now, he would have to deal with Sakura and Sasuke. The other four, meanwhile, had just crossed the border into rice paddy country, fully aware of how easily Kurama could kick those five in the ass. Sasuke and Sakura had just arrived in the Valley of the End when Kurama unexpectedly attacked them. They landed on the statue of Madara Uchiha's head after avoiding his attack. As the smoke started to cause the box to unravel, Kurama set it down and there stood Hinata, who now had purple hair and purplish, tinted skin. Like Tayuya, she developed a crown of horns of some kind. Her eyes and lips are both purple. Hinata turned and smiled warmly at Kurama. The other two are still shocked to see Kurama in this state, and they are shocked to see her like that. The initial move was made by Sasuke, who leapt with a Chidori in hand and headed for Kurama, who likewise leapt with a Rasengan in hand but had imbued it with his fire affinity to create a ring of fire around it. He then blasted it at the Uchiha, encircling it in a vortex of fire before it collapsed. Sasuke used a water shield to block most of the flames before falling to the river, where he was severely burned but still alive. Kurama smiled. As he landed on the water, he said, "I guess this won't be so boring after all." He uttered the words, "Shut your face, Yuha," before the Uzumaki struck the Uchiha in the head with both hands, sending him tumbling into the river. The Uchiha landed on his feet and skidded on the water as the Uzumaki leapt in after him, grabbed his leg, and threw him out of the river. Sakura and Hinata began fighting in the meantime, but the majority of Sakura's attack did nothing, not even beating the water, as she would have wanted. Avoided Hinata made the decision to use her Byakugan, but an unexpected event occurred. When she turned it on, purple electricity danced across her face and her eyes started to sting. Think of the regeneration of a homunculus in FMA. BH. She looked down at her reflection and muttered something as the lavender in her eyes grew more noticeable and purple markings appeared around them. Think of the purple markings around Naruto's eyes when he's in Sage mode and the Orochimaru markings. She gasped, "Mangekyo Byakugan," when the third Tomoe appeared. Sasuke was fighting Kurama and trying to force his Sharingan into state 3, but it wouldn't budge. When he realized he could only see his movements and that his attacks were incomprehensible, he exclaimed, "Finally I can see his attacks, huh? What the hell, I can't see your jutsu." Sasuke's eyes widened as he said, "That's because this jutsu is from my Kekkei Genkai, one of the 3 great dojutsu. Yes, the Uzumaki is the bastard child of 2 lovers, one Senju and the other Uchiha," Sasuke said, taking a few steps in shock. What the hell? Once more, Sasuke was astounded to learn of the similarities between their clans. And by the way, the reason you never heard of the Uzumaki clan is because all but me, my mother, and my 2 siblings are the remnants of it, because if me and my siblings were not born, the Uzumaki clan would probably be dead. The young Hyuga, meanwhile, was taken aback upon acquiring the legendary Mangekyo Byakugan. It is claimed that when it is active, it eliminates the blind spot, expands the field of view, and even shows the opponent's affinity, enabling them to anticipate the jutsu they may employ. However, that was only the initial phase. The user was given 2 special abilities in the second stage, and to Hinata's surprise, the marks under her eyes demonstrated that she was capable of using them. In fact, she already knew what they wore, or more accurately, she knew how to cast them. "Hakai Hiro Sakura Kanai," she said, and then strange blood-red blossoms started to flow out of her. This was already strange, but they then surrounded Sakura and repeatedly cut her. But before the cuts caused a tiny explosion that tore her arm off and caused internal bleeding, they started to burn with a terrible pain. Think of that jutsu from the 3rd Naruto movie. Hiro Sakura Yoroi was followed by the blossoms flowing towards the now normal Hinata, who was wearing a lavender-colored samurai amur. On one shoulder pad, the kanji for love rose above the kanji for Kurama's name, and on the other, the kanji for hate rose above the Konoha symbol, which had a slash across it. She then made a katana that was similar to a regular sword except for the Hyuga clan symbol and the vendor-colored blade. Before generating electricity on the blade and rushing forward, she said, "I'm sorry, I know you're weak, and I know what it's like to be weak, but we're threatening me, and I have to kill you. Lightning style. Chidori burrito," she said as blood spurted from Sakura's body, the young, pink-haired girl dying and sinking to the bottom of the Valley of the End, forgotten forever as nothing more than a dead corpse because Sakura Haruno was dead. Fireballs, Chidori, Rasengan, ninja wire, kunai, shuriken, swords, punching, taijutsu, genjutsu, you name it. Sasuke and Kurama continued the battle in the meantime. They were currently without equipment, and Sasuke had very little chakra left. However, Kurama, who was Uzumaki, had a lot of chakra, and the Kyuubi inside of him gave him more than he needed. Since the crater was 5 times larger than the previous one, it is possible that a new Valley of the End was created when Kurama appeared above Sasuke and used an almighty push to create a crater. Shortly after, Kurama and his lover Hinata met up before vanishing into the forest, abandoning the 2 dead bodies in the valley. A report was handed to Danzo, the new Hokage. As of now, Kurama Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, Ichigo Aki, Hosenka Uchiha and Haku, Black Ink, are now all S-rank missing ninja. Each is a suspect of killing 5 Genin Rock Lee, Shikamaru Nara, Shoji Akamichi, Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha along with 5 Jonin Kakashi Hitaki, Asura Sarutobi, Kurenai, Ebisu and Gai. All 5 are suspected of joining the Sound Village, Otogakure. My plans on controlling the 9 tails are doomed. We must now infiltrate Otogakure, Toby. He smirked as he considered branding every Konoha resident with the caged bird seal. So then Minato, that's your plan B? Well then we shall begin our plans of the infiltration, he said out loud as he peered out the window towards the village.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.